started a character yesterday, and I made him like real big and burly and everything. And I
I'm
named,
sorry, Vincent. Can you just like put this between your legs?
Yes.
My knee is really
Hot.
hurting.
and I named him Sue. Boy named Sue. Yeah.
Becky Sue.
Does it feel like I'm missing
I
a front
love
calf
you,
muscle to you?
little
It's like
baby.
just bone right
Like
there.
right here?
A front calf muscle.
That's
I
impossible.
think everybody's missing that one.
No, you have it.
No, that's incredibly.
I have a gigantic shin muscle.
Unless you have like
These are
an extremely
referring to.
strong muscle that's just like morphed into your bone. That's wow. Yeah. Wait.
It's just bone.
Yeah, that's weird.
You don't have a front muscle?
He's
No.
got a front bone.
What's that muscle called?
I get a front bone
It's-
in the morning.
Yeah.
Why aren't we
You
recording?
ever get one of those rear bones?
That was too comfortable. It started making me uncomfortable.
You don't want one of those.
I try. I actually looked
I don't
into
do
like
the
going
I don't
into
do the
Sue
right
school.
exercises.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My friend Brian was
I think it would be
telling me
too
about that
hard.
while he was in the seat next to me. He was like, "I'm doing them right now."
Kegels?
Yeah,
I thought it was pronounced
Yeah.
Kegel.
Kegel.
I thought it was Kegels. Yeah, I thought it was Kegels.
Kegels?
Kegels. So I was talking to Kegels, and we were totally like,
All right, let's officially start this thing. Let me look at the time here. All right, here we go. We are the Romantics, and this is Filmmaking with Noobs, and we're going to talk about stuff. And today we're going to start off with Aaron talking a little bit about his amazing green screen action in our new commercial that just came out that we use for Full Screen's advertising.
How honestly do you want me to talk about this?
I want you to be fairly honest.
Okay.
and I want a plot synopsis.
Yeah.
Plot synopsis.
Well, actually, we can talk about like the brainstorming and the stuff that we did and the stressing out.
Let's
something
make
that-
it seem like we didn't brainstorm.
No, we did. We did.
And so it's like you didn't put any thought into it. So that's what had happened.
Yeah, we just threw this together.
It's a lot like Yellow Submarine.
Kind of. I got a couple of Tim
No.
and Eric.
Aaron,
I got like
Yeah,
a
it's a
couple
lot
of
like Tim and Eric.
I had a couple of Tim and Eric awesome show people saying
I love
Tim
Tim
and
and
things
Eric.
like that.
Tim and Eric is a lot like Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
Have you
Wait,
guys
you're talking
seen
about-
that movie?
Oh,
Yes.
that's talking about the
Yeah,
music
yeah.
video, like the song "Yellow Submarine." And, okay, I got Well, it's okay.
The
You
Beatles.
don't look- it's the exact same words.
It's all connected.
Literally, the Yellow Submarine.
Just like Lost.
You hold my leg now.
I think I was the only one in these I
Who
never,
noob?
It
GTFO, lol.
who never saw Lost.
Okay, so yeah,
Wait,
we
you never saw Lost?
No,
What the?
I only saw the first two seasons. Stafoo. I'm watching on Netflix.
because everyone, when it came out, everyone was just like, "Oh my god, Lost!" Oh, you know.
If you never do
And
anything
then-
else in your life, you need to watch at least the first season.
Well, I don't care.
The first and second season are
I
amazing.
didn't care. I
Vincent.
didn't care.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Hey, Lippy, buddy.
Hey.
It has the best
Hey, bud.
pilot ever. Even if you don't like the rest of the show, the pilot is really awesome.
yes.
And it's the most like cinematic looking pilot. It's really pretty.
Yeah, when that TV show first came out, it was the first TV show that I had ever seen on television that looked like a movie.
Was it like the pilot for Star Trek, the Star Trek movie pilot?
Star Trek.
It was better looking than the Fringe pilot. The Fringe
The
pilot
Fringe pilot
really
was
good.
really good.
Yeah, it's really, really
then,
good.
Yes, you need
But
to watch
it's
Lost.
then you need to watch the Lost
It's
pilot.
J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof.
Well,
so
it's a lot of the
watch it.
same. J.J. Abrams thinks, obviously, we totally derailed Aaron's
I
conversation.
just thought
We'll
it
get back
was-
to that.
Yeah.
But J.J. Abrams obviously he always, I've noticed, correlates the scale of what's happening with the scale of object and environment. So like when something crazy is happening, there's always like a huge plane or something involved. And he made it a decision, like a creative decision, like whenever they're showing off the Enterprise. In the Star Trek movies, it always breaks frame to like show you how huge it is.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to make it small in comparison to something else, then that thing is almost always like largely out of frame.
Right.
And it's like, whoa.
I love
Yeah.
that. It gives so
It's-
much gravity to it.
Yeah, just his sense of scale.
That's the thing that I miss in a lot of films and video games even, is they suck at showing scale.
Yeah.
Neverwinter.
So I
Sometimes
can't
when
get
you
into Eve.
sometimes when you go into new zones and you just look up.
I know. Yeah. Okay. That's when I first noticed that I was in Valisk and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this region, you got to hurry up and get to this level because it's awesome. It's like all with it's with all this Forsworn and stuff, and everything's it's the only night region. It's only the only region set at nighttime.
What?
And so you look
What about
up.
the graveyard?
Yeah, that's true.
Is it, oh, okay. I thought it was just like
It's the second region
It's
that's
more
set at
purple
nighttime.
time.
yeah. I thought the graveyard was more just like it was all since it's
purple.
foggy and stuff.
It's
everything's
like
purple.
Halloween.
It's Halloween
Yeah.
time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is all. It's like dusk. This is all like actually like set
So
at night.
Talking about the Neverwinter MMO.
Yeah, and you look, it has just like this beautiful. It almost actually looks better than the mods you had on the Fallout 3 Sky or Fallout New Vegas Sky.
Yeah.
It just
I
looks
actually
awesome.
one thing, Aaron and I played Neverwinter MMO a little bit last week for a couple hours because I hadn't really played it much, and he started a character I think at like level 12 or something. And I made a couple of comments. There were a couple of places where we walked up to like a wall or something with a door in it, like a castle wall looking thing or something. And the game, like the graphics of the game are not very high end,
Right.
But the artwork is good enough that it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And it does look pretty epic.
It's not a great engine, but it all looks aesthetically. It looks really pleasing.
I think actually it might be a really great engine because it's good at showing off the artwork, but at the same time, the fact that that it's an action MMO and you have to deal with mobility.
Right.
Like I play a wizard and you have to like teleport around like Nightcrawler or you die.
Right.
And so you like latency and graphics lag would be huge issues
Right,
for
if
that.
it was-
and so they have to
yeah.
balance that out. And I think they do a great job of
That's a
making
good point.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they do a good job of making it look really cool and still like
Like it's a great engine for what they're doing.
right.
It's just not technically high end as far as the textures and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's art assets anyway. So.
I went back and played Guild Wars 2 a couple days ago and was looking around. And Guild Wars 2, definitely the view distance is much higher. It's a much bigger seeming game. For some reason, Neverwinter does look better. I think
just the art. It's
Yeah.
cooler looking. That's
I
all
think
there is.
Yeah.
I think for people that played Dungeons and Dragons and have that like dungeon delving kind of spirit too, it's
Yeah.
a lot more similar. It's like an intimate
Yeah, it
experience.
definitely has the feeling.
Yeah,
to
because
it.
like the first 3 or 4 instances are all like straight dungeon crawls, and that's what I actually like. That's the type
Yeah.
of like instances in dungeons.
So,
I mean, it's
it
a
needs more
dungeon.
puzzle
It's
elements, though.
somebody in
actual
a,
dungeon.
somebody in the chat was saying something like it actually feels like they're playing D&D.
Yeah,
Like
it really does.
And
Like
I don't
traps
know.
and
I don't know the
all that good
mechanics
stuff.
behind the combat and stuff, but I'm supposedly it has D&D style mechanics behind the combat, but they're it's kind of morphed a little
Yeah,
bit. to
it's
fit into-
basically the game. It's basically the game version or the video game version of 4.0.
yeah.
It's not like KOTOR where you actually roll D20
Right.
and you can go look at the logs. But
That actually gets boring to me in a long game, though.
well,
That's how DDO was, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I liked DDO.
I think DDO was probably
Dungeons and Dragons
more
Online.
fun when it comes to actually dungeon delving, but the combat in Neverwinter Online or Neverwinter is way better.
Neverwinter's a better MMO. Like Dungeons and Dragons Online, I seriously think that if you had 4 or 5 people that always played together
Yeah.
and didn't play when the other people weren't playing, if it was just if you had your D&D group
Yeah.
and you went and played that game, it would be
We
awesome.
We played that one at release, and the one thing I do miss about that's not in most games, maybe like in Terra Online a little bit, but is the like directional blocking and stuff. Like you in DDO, if you had a shield, you had to actually block and face the attack for it to work.
That's
and
how
stuff.
Guardian Fighter is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And I miss that. I think that MMOs are going to have to like drastically change over the years to stay afloat.
I think they're changing. Like I think the last 3 years with Guild Wars 2, Neverwinter, some of the other games.
Terra was a big
Yeah, I
proponent for
really
that
liked Terra.
combat.
Terra was it was weird because it was the first Korean MMO I played, so everything felt really weird.
Korean.
Yeah.
I liked the combat in it. Didn't like anything
Yeah,
else.
the action.
Yeah,
The action.
exactly.
It was good, solid action combat, and everything was incredibly polished.
Right.
It just looked so.
But it had
pretty.
half naked little kids in it.
Yeah, that's the
And
Korean
that was
part.
really You know, and they had to put more clothes on those characters for the US version.
That's beautiful, man.
So that was like the only game, like the only game where I was like, actually making a girl character worked out pretty well.
The romantics now with more pedophilia.
Oh my gosh.
No, there's not.
I quit. I'm out.
There's really not any of that, any of it.
I dated a girl for a little while. Speaking of pedophilia.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Podcast ruined.
I gotta podcast over. It's more like it. No, I dated a girl for a while who was an adult. She was in her 20s, and I am in my 30s. And then I found out that at a job that I had worked previously, which was a retail job, like way back in the day, I recognized her mom when I first went to her house, and we all like made pretzels together. I realized that she had been a customer at this bookstore where I used to work, and she had brought her little girl in to buy Goosebumps, and I knew her from that previously.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Weird.
yeah, it was.
Well,
That's
I
kinda
had a
cool.
5th grade teacher who
Saw you at the book stop.
His wife, when he was a senior in high school, his wife was in kindergarten. Like that's that
Wow.
much an age difference. I mean, that's pretty much what you're saying, right?
Welcome to my dating world.
Right. No, I thought you were like, it's so weird. And I was reassuring you that a lot of people, and my aunt and uncle are
No,
like
it was
that.
just weird that I actually had like
Oh, had seen it before.
her
Yeah.
and knew her when she
Yeah.
was that age.
Yeah.
I waited for her. I was like,
When you saw her come in the bookstore, you
She
gave her a
is the
promise
one.
ring.
I took it out of one of those books about horses. It has the jewelry in it, and I was like, "This is for you."
You get down on your knees.
One day,
Yeah, it's like one day you'll know what this means.
when you're in your 20s,
In your mid-20s.
Mom, who is this guy?
God.
it's fate.
I feel a little sick.
But I don't believe in fate.
You're welcome.
Before we get to talking about that film part, Wes, did you back that Kickstarter last night? I saw an email.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
It looks very cool.
Yes.
Oh, what's up?
What's the name of it? I forgot the name of it already.
I don't like the name of it. The name of this game is called Tug, and it's
I don't like the name of it either.
it's a sandbox MMO they're developing that uses Minecraft elements.
It looks 1 billion times better than Minecraft.
Yeah, it's
like it's not graphically like Minecraft.
right,
at
it's a
all.
voxel based game, but they use an engine to smooth out the texture. So
And it's an RPG.
yeah, so you got voxel based hills, but they're smooth and round rather than
It's
being
not blocks.
I like
Yeah.
I prefer my hills
I
smooth
thought
and round.
I thought voxel was blocks though.
Instead of
Voxel refers to like the placement engine, I think. Like the
It's like big
segmented
pixels, yeah.
Yeah, it's the segmented engine. But
Okay.
they've made it in a way where everything is like rounded off and more. I mean, it's not going to look like Crisis 3 or anything,
Right.
But it's
Crisis
definitely
3.
it's definitely like graphics.
the enemies, the characters, and the animals, and like everything that's got a life to it is not voxel based.
Yeah.
It's animated.
Yeah, and it looks you start with a main character. I watched the videos, all I
Yeah.
watched, but you start with a main character who starts off as a seed, and you grow, and like you actually level up, skills, everything.
It's a first-person game like Minecraft, and they say that there will be third-person in it, but they're not going to tell anybody how that's available. Basically, you have to craft an item or find something in the wild that gives you access to third-person.
Yeah.
Possibly, it's like if you want things to modify your HUD, or you just want to increase the gaminess of the game, you have to like craft things, or you have to craft your experience.
So
That's cool.
Like
Yeah.
in Minecraft, you just start off as a dude. You get a pick and you break things and you
punch a
build
tree.
things. Right. In this game, the reason it's called Tug is the only thing you start off with. It's basically like you start off like a baby, kind of. It's a seed because you're like a nature.
You die within
creature or
30 minutes
something.
game time
just like
because you are a child.
You're like Tarzan
and
as
you
a boy.
don't know where to
Yeah,
survive.
basically. And so you start off. The only thing you start off with is like a gem in your hand.
Yeah, it's a rock in the back.
Yeah,
of your hand.
in the back of your hand, and that's where Tug comes from because you can use like magic power from that to like pull the world around and like affect the world. And
It's an
stuff.
RPG,
It's
so
really cool.
And you level up, and what he was saying about the HUD is you get things where you can like alter your gem, and it does things to your HUD, and like you get these different types of gloves that can do different things. And
honestly, it's the most it's the game I'm the most excited about right now. I keep going back to the Kickstarter page and looking to see how much they've got.
That's cool.
It's
they're
really
not.
bugging
They've
me.
only got like 8 days left, and they're at like
6 now.
170K of 250.
They probably will hit their goal.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
They got
but
10,000 yesterday.
It's close.
In 24 hours, they hit 10,000.
Yeah.
So as long
I
as
donated 9,000 of that. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
For a second, Aaron kind of believed that. No. I think I kickstarted like $50.
The door opens
I
and
did
you're like,
65.
what? No.
Wow, you kickstarted more than me. You must have been really excited.
I'm telling you, man.
That's crazy.
I'm really excited about Star Citizen, but Tug has got me like frothing.
This reminds me of a flash.
Doesn't it sound like a good thing to support?
Quick, call the doctor. He's got rabies.
In the mouth.
Which I watched a video. Just I don't want to derail
of
a
rabies?
whole lot. Yeah, I watched this like video. It was like when the rabies first started becoming recognized and stuff. Like just like the process of it. Stuff's crazy.
It's gross.
Anyways,
26
Yeah.
shots in the stomach. That's what I used to hear when I was a kid.
Yeah.
If you get bit by a dog, you got to get 26 shots in the stomach.
Rabies is crazy anyway because it causes insanity and all kinds of other stuff. The craziest thing to me about rabies is that it can affect your behavior.
Yeah.
Like rabies can't survive in water, and so it makes you afraid of water. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's an
It's like an
instinctual
alien
thing.
life form.
yeah.
I mean, it's basically zombieism, a form of the thing that could happen to cause zombies.
Ooh,
There's this.
mutant rabies. That's our sci-fi movie.
it almost like takes over your body because it makes you like
Right.
'cause
Well, you
can't
adopt the
survive.
behaviors of the virus.
Right. So
Or-
it's like you can't.
is it a virus?
It
It's a
makes
virus.
you like expel water and stuff. And it's just like makes your body do things, and it's like you're having a host.
I don't watch this show, so I don't
Very
recommend it. But
okay.
there's this show called Blue Mountain State. I think you can watch it on Netflix.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's fairly gross and
Awesome.
lowbrow, but it's about college football players and the
Football.
the captain of
Steve Holt. Oh, that was really loud.
Oh my God.
Apologize.
Dan, you knocked Dan's headset off. Look at that.
I think
that was
Dan
Dan that
knocked
did
Dan's
that.
Yeah,
headset
Dan
off.
totally knocked Dan's headset off.
I was
Are we
apologizing.
going to
for
edit that
Dan.
out?
That wasn't
Nope.
me.
Because there's a limiter, so it won't hurt the people listening.
Oh,
It just
okay.
hurts us.
Yeah,
Steve Holt.
we are Holt. Steve Holt. Steve Holt.
I haven't heard that.
Which
in
I
a
want to
long
talk about.
time.
I want to talk about Arrested Development later, but not right now.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
That hurt.
I'm sorry, guys.
Well.
Am I off the podcast?
Yep.
You're still sitting here right now, but I've completely muted you.
That's not true.
No one's ever going to hear anything you say. It's just going to be lips moving. Nobody look at Dan.
So that means I can go home, right?
No, because we got the video rolling.
He's lying. I can see it.
You don't know how that works.
I don't.
If I muted him, that meter would still go up. All Aaron knows about is little airplanes and glasses.
What the what the viewers at home don't realize is that they're being cheated because while he probably says the least, Aaron is the funniest romantic. And he just
No, see, he waits for it, and just like sees your opening, and then just kills it, and then just that's it.
I look for your small opening, and then I put myself in there.
Stick it in and twist.
I fully regret this metaphor.
yeah, that's the worst metaphor ever.
All right, let's talk about some film.
Yeah.
Okay, what we did last week.
Aaron.
Oh my gosh! Can somebody turn my headset down?
No, stuck with it.
What we did last weekend does not qualify as film.
I think it does.
Okay. It was an experiment, I guess. Yes, film can be experimental.
Like I said when you were doing it and when you were texting me about crying during editing, I said, hey, more lessons learned every time.
Yep.
So
That
that's
was
basically what we got to treat it like.
Yeah. That one was a hard pill to swallow. That was like a big chunk of vitamin C that just kept sticking to my uvula and wouldn't shake free.
What? Okay, let's talk about so many of those things. But first of all, what was the pill?
What was the Okay. Yeah, we had to do a commercial
Good point.
for our YouTube channel. And
That was for the full screen partner, our
Wait,
partner
yeah.
full screen.
Yeah, so you can see how much communication we have between each other because half of us didn't know what was going on.
Let's back this up even further.
You
Now you're
did.
telling me that you guys have a YouTube channel.
Are you subscribed to that YouTube channel, Dan?
Hi, I'm Vincent. Hello.
I will now.
Dan takes a look around the room, sees all these mics, and says, "What the hell? This is
Thought
what
we
all
were just
this is
recording
for?"
this for our kids.
Yeah.
Took the worst for
Time
me
capsule.
Colon wakes up. Colon.
Okay, so yeah, we got Full Screen asked us to get a video together so they could use it for a commercial for our channel, which is really cool, and we really appreciate that.
It is really cool, but I didn't know who Full Screen was until Wes told me. So What's some of the other content? It's a YouTube collective. I'm serious because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So what? They're a group of
Full Screen.
publishers of YouTube content.
Yeah, Full Screen is a YouTube partner.
Okay.
Right. So they get their own sort of advertising that they can display on channels instead of getting Google's AdSense advertisements.
Okay.
So they're like a go-between where they go out and get their own contracts for ads and they push that stuff on your channel instead of the stuff that YouTube would, and they pay YouTube a percentage of the income, and then they pay us, if we're partnered with them, a percentage of the income. So the point of that is if you're with a good partner and you have good content that is engaging, and because numbers for income on YouTube now are sort of based on engagement, not just views.
Right.
So you need like likes, comments, length of time watched, that kind of stuff for engagement. And also like staying in channel. Like if someone's on your video and they click on something else, go to another video of yours, it tells Google's analytics that you're serving what they're looking for.
Okay.
So that's a type of engagement statistic that they can look at. So if you're with a good partner, you stand to make a higher revenue than you would with just Google's AdSense because they can serve more specific things to your channel, and they can get bigger contracts because that's all they do. YouTube gets contracts. I'm sure they have a department too, but YouTube gets contracts because they're YouTube. Full Screen gets contracts because they serve a certain type of content and they work with certain types of things. I think they work with like CBS and a couple of other really big, like they have a channel where they promoted stuff for CBS and different things like that.
Howdy.
So they basically do a ton of promotion stuff. And so, like for example, on Google AdSense, if you're getting like a $3 CPM, which is clicks per whatever, it's basically like $3 per 1,000 legit impressions, which means they have to actually click on that ad or they have to watch it all the way through or something like that.
Right.
So if you go over to Full Screen, like for me, we went from like, I don't know, 375 up to like 475. So it's even more with Full Screen, and we don't even have a big channel yet or anything. So
Cool.
that makes a huge difference when you're getting like hundreds of thousands of views a day or something.
Right.
So Full Screen has a bunch of people partnered with them. 5-second films. A lot of people have seen those. Those are the guys that make the little 5-second shorts.
Now, that was the one that I was familiar with.
Yeah, the most
They're
famous
hilarious.
one is the guy that tucks his weenie and runs sideways and says, "Would you F me?"
Yeah, that was
Something
from
definitely
Silence of the
so
Lambs.
hard.
Yeah. He runs and says that. That's the first one I ever saw, and then I watched like everything on the channel.
I just really like puppets.
Puppets. Yeah, and then they sponsored the girl that plays violin.
I've been trying to think of her name for the past.
It's Lindsay something.
Yeah, Lindsay. Shoot,
I always
Lindsay
forget-
Sterling.
Lindsay Sterling. Yeah, she does like this like
Oh yeah.
ballet.
That's what
stuff
I was most
and
excited
dancing
for.
around while she plays this crazy violin
Yeah,
stuff.
because I've been watching her since she put out her first stuff, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Lindsay Sterling.
I'm trying to get in contact with her for your birthday present.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she's
I just decided that as I opened up my mouth. So, yeah.
Another big one that
Now
they
you
do.
have
so, so you haven't been trying very hard.
No.
Okay.
Another big one that they do
that is so exciting.
is Wigs, which is the biggest web series on YouTube, and Wigs is like
Super sexy.
It's all these.
racy
It's
stuff.
got like what's the girl's name? I always forget her name.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles.
She's in one of their bigger
I
ones.
like her.
Do or you don't?
I do.
Is it Anna
Oh, I do too.
Paquin
Yeah.
that's in one now?
I don't know.
They have a lot of famous people in that thing, but the Wigs series, like each 8 to 12 minute episode gets like 2-3 million views.
I felt really good when Julia Stiles decided to trust Jason Bourne.
Well,
She was really good in Dexter. Through the fourth season.
Peter Weller is all the hell over the place now. Go.
he's
go,
blowing up.
go Buckaroo Banzai.
Blowing up.
But I had an issue with his performance in the latest Star Trek.
Oh, I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
It went a little over the top for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? At what point?
So defensive.
Spoiler alert, guys.
You sounded really defensive.
RoboCop
Dan
is
does.
the antagonist in the new Star Trek.
You said spoiler alert, right?
Yeah.
That clears it. That we're free and clear to say whatever we want.
No, we're not free and clear to say whatever we want.
No.
But
We do not. First of all, I've talked to many people, and the Game of Thrones spoiler last week was terrible. We cannot do that anymore. No blurting out
I don't
of
even remember what it
gigantic
was.
plot lines.
Oh,
that-
it was the.
It was bad. It was Ned Stark stuff. That is bad,
That's-
and I got tons of comments from people that have not read it or watched it, and they're just starting to watch
That's
Game of
from
Thrones.
2.5 years ago.
It's
we have
longer
to
than that.
we have
Yeah,
to
it's from, like,
paraphrase
15 years ago.
We
20
have to
years ago.
paraphrase every single. Yeah, but a lot of people didn't know about Game of Thrones until the show
Okay.
came out.
I
Well,
knew about it before the show came out.
We would have to put a thing at the front of every single episode that says "Don't listen to this" if you haven't watched Game of Thrones. If
Okay.
you haven't done this.
Well, then let me clarify two things. One, I was joking about Peter Weller. He is in the movie. I do think that he's fabulous, but I mean, you don't really.
Ghetto fabulous or just regular fabulous?
He's straight fabulous.
Nice.
Bitch, please, he's fabulous.
If they got irritated by that last one, you probably will need to edit that Peter Weller bit out then.
That doesn't mean anything to somebody that hasn't seen it.
Well,
Yeah, well, I mean, he's in it. Is all that you have to
I
know.
mean, you see that on the list of actors. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
yeah, but
I mean, I said
that's
that
not
he's.
what was said.
I said that he's the antagonist, but I mean, obviously that's not true because Benedict Cumberbatch is the antagonist, and we know that from the trailer, y'all. It's not even a spoiler.
No, those are not spoilers.
It's not even a spoiler, y'all. Okay,
I just still feel real bad about the Game of Thrones one.
I don't feel bad. And but people, if you're that far behind,
That's
you-
okay. We don't have to feel bad, but
where you been?
it would suck to lose listeners over something like that.
Yeah, well, and putting myself in their position, if I were to discover that
Right.
through this podcast,
It would make you mad, even
I-
though it might be legit.
I actually read a spoiler. I'm not going to say what it was. Don't worry. But it was actually an actor found out at one point during the series, past, present, future. I don't know. Found out from a fan that his character was going to die in the season following
Wow,
when the
that's,
person approached him.
That's hilarious.
And he was like, he or she were like, oh, well, cool. I guess I'll call my agent now.
Wow.
Because they hadn't read the book. He had just
Why
read
would you
this.
not?
He had just read. Well, I think he was reading it as he was going.
okay.
So he was familiar with all the past content, but he was like,
that
book
might be
and script.
Yeah, that might be a really good way to act the part out, as your character wouldn't know those things.
And
yet.
that's true. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe that's the way he does things.
Let's talk a little bit more about spoilers real quick. I think there should be there's a time sensitive issue. Like if it's within the past, I say past year, we could probably
Well, it's like it's
preface things with
it's like a
spoiler
time
alert.
popularity issue. So like this, it hasn't gotten popular until like 2 years ago.
Right, and the
But
first
it's been
season,
around since the 90s.
like the first season of Game of Thrones comes out, it takes a year or two before everybody get on board.
Right. And so it's like with popular TV shows, I think it's like kosher for like 2 years. I think like it's not the past season, but the season before last. I guess that makes sense. And then like, but with Game of Thrones and stuff, since it's been around
Yeah,
since
and
the
you have
early
to-
90s, it's hard. It's so there's obviously been a time frame, but it hasn't been popular. No one has even heard about it until within the,
And you have
since the show.
you have to keep in mind that Game of Thrones came out on HBO, and a ton of people don't pay for HBO because it's expensive.
That's true.
And so they couldn't even watch it till it came out on DVD or Blu-ray, which is a year
Arr.
later. And then on top of that, when it came out on Blu-ray and DVD, it was like $40 or $50.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that haven't been able to watch it until they've been able to get it on some free source.
And I understand that. I think people, I would be irritated too, but I think people also need to understand that we're a podcast about filmmaking and talking about nerdy stuff. So this
Yeah.
stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
All I meant was that was a really, really, really. That's the entire first season.
Yeah.
You gave away.
Well, it happened. It's not a big deal.
And it happened that fast.
I would also like to point out, though, that
You
from
edited
my perspective,
I didn't.
Exactly.
right? But that was on the New York Times bestseller list. Those books
Yeah.
for the entire 8 years that I worked in bookstores. And
Lots of people don't read.
well, those people need to get on the stick.
Yeah.
Those people get punished.
Whatever. It's fine. It's over. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So anyway,
I
No,
think
it's-
I think the topic
Oh
of
no.
spoilers is
Yeah. I just meant like with
a good one.
we feel bad about it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin anybody's experience.
Right? Yeah.
But but you're right. It is kind of like one of those things because I listen to a few other nerdy podcasts and stuff, and then
Snape kills Dumbledore.
if which I had a like in high school I had a big Harry Potter spoiler,
Sharon is a
and I was
Cylon.
like,
Dumbledore likes boys.
I have
Vincent, keep talking.
what there's
Hold on.
You're gonna say something?
Nothing. No.
So there's I remember I was eating lunch one day in the cafeteria at school, and
What were you having?
I don't know. I was at Bruce Cafeteria up at North Texas. Probably pizza. I think. Hey, that sounds like something I would eat. And this girl walked in and she had just like a shirt of spoilers. And it was like, Darth Vader's Luke's father, Snape kills Dumbledore, and it had it just had
Cylon.
Yeah, it just had just like it was like
These
30
are all
of them.
memes already. So
Yeah, it was like 30 different spoilers on her shirt. And
if
she
you're
was,
on the
like, walking around.
interwebs,
I thought it was
Why you tell me to
Very funny.
stop?
I can't remember what character Sharon is.
Boomer.
Osborne.
Sharon Valeri.
Okay, I still have not finished that series. I'm
What-
on the last season.
They revealed
That's crazy to
they
me.
revealed this in the
I know.
mini series.
I
That
just
is-
couldn't remember who Sharon was. I
this
was
is one
freaking
of the greatest shows of my lifetime to me,
Yeah.
and you still haven't finished it.
out. Nope, I probably will never. Along with the Dark Tower. I
That's-
don't know why.
I mean, the Dark Tower there's a million books out there.
It's
but-
books.
It's
But-
not because I don't want to and I don't love it. I think they're amazing, but
How
it's
have
a
you
mental
not
block.
finished Battlestar? Like that seems impossible.
I
He's too busy watching those Asian drama love show things that come out on Netflix every week.
Oh,
now.
Stephanie watches those. You guys should get together and watch them.
Well, Stephanie's actually
Boys Over
Stephanie's
Flowers.
actually Asian though.
Well, I'm glad the secrets I tell Wes stay secret.
That
That's
wasn't a
great.
secret.
Yeah, I said you absolutely can't tell anybody this, and you just told everybody.
I
Spoiler.
don't remember that.
Spoiler.
Everybody on the internet, man, 200 people are gonna hear total.
Everybody's
maybe.
gonna go look that up now, and we're gonna get famous from that
It's
video.
the bad
getting
stuff that goes
hits
viral.
From our-
Hey, what's cool now is speaking of Asian media. When I type in the romantics now, I see us, specifically you guys, instead of like the Korean drama or whatever. I don't know if it's Korean. I actually don't know what it is.
oh,
But
the movie.
there's just like clip.
Oh, I
It
don't
used to
know.
be when I searched the romantics, it would just be lots of clips of Asian people,
Oh, weird.
and it was from something called the Romantics, and they were in love.
It's actually the Korean.
Because there's a
spoof of our
movie.
show.
There's a movie that has like George Clooney.
Zero
in it,
romantics.
and
It's not George Clooney.
It's not?
No, it's
It's got a famous female.
got Elijah
actress.
Wood.
Elijah Wood.
it's Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. That's who I was thinking of. Not George Clooney.
They look-
it's
kinda
kind
looks
of Katie
similar.
Holmes, George Clooney.
Okay, so wait,
It's a
wait,
little
wait.
different.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the spoilers, guys.
He's not.
I love you guys, and I love you guys.
Aw,
But
gross.
I want to spoil for everyone this commercial that we made, and by we I mean I was not involved. You guys made.
Okay, let me explain
even know about
that.
it.
Let me explain that. I
For
think I
full
explained
screen.
that to Vincent
He
a
did,
little
yeah.
bit.
I laughed.
So we know what full screen is. So
Right.
why did we make a commercial? For
Real quick. I have to explain why I didn't tell you guys ahead of time.
Because you were ashamed.
Because I
so
freaking forgot.
Embarrassed.
Because Aaron and I, we got this message from this guy, and I was freaking out about just getting it done, you know?
That really good message that
And yeah, I did post that. I did post that
Yeah,
for you guys to see
right.
that we got
Yes.
the message
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we started making the commercial, we had our heads in that thing for like, I just completely forgot to ever even say anything about it.
I even sent Aaron a text that was like, "Are you guys going to get on that commercial, or what's going on with that?"
I have no,
Or I
no
meant to.
responsibility for that part.
Or I meant
I
to.
don't remember that.
know.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I found out through people
might have
on
been about
Twitch. They're like, so
Yeah,
hey,
no.
when does that
Yeah.
commercial come out? I was like, what? It's like, yeah, are you doing that commercial? It's like, I have no idea what y'all are
That's
talking
pretty
about.
terrible.
Well, now you've both seen it. Do you still wish you had some kind of hand in that?
I never wished that.
I wish I
I
would have
don't-
been there to laugh at it. Yeah.
And what's funny, I told Vincent this. I told Aaron the day that we were doing it, I was like, man, we need somebody to like hold the camera so we can make these shots look like what we want. We should call Vincent to come over and hold the camera.
Yeah.
And Aaron's like, no, he's probably busy today. Vincent was doing absolutely nothing. He's out of school.
Yeah.
In fact,
remember that.
he was probably playing video games with Rush or something.
No, I didn't start
That was
playing with the Rush
Tuesday.
until Tuesday. Yeah.
Can I invite a friend to come be a roadie? Probably not for tomorrow, but like next time we
roadie?
shoot. Not a roadie, a grip.
As long as they like help us out and don't stop us down, you know.
No, I mean
Stop us down.
I have a couple people. Stop.
We're just gonna be like, don't stop me now,
Or don't stop.
Having such a good time.
Don't
Having
stop
a
me
ball.
now.
Don't stop me now.
Man, I gotta get a disco ball in here. I don't know what's going
Is that
on.
Dragon
The
Attack?
Queen.
No, it's not. That's like Dragon Attack. I love that Queen
What's
song.
going on?
I don't know.
Aaron just puts his glasses
I
on.
need an extra layer of
Aaron's like,
separation
too
from me
cool
and you.
for these fools.
Okay, so let's move on with this film talk. Dan, you were asking a question.
Damn.
Oh yeah. No, this person would be serious about helping out. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple people in mind, but
That's up to Aaron. I don't
Got
care.
some of those.
uh,
And
got
more
some of those
people to
notes.
like carry crap around is great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah, let me-
So on
their
this
names from
commercial, real quick, we were contacted to make a commercial by Fullscreen. They wanted to give us some free advertising. We had no idea like how it was going to go down or what it was going to be like, but big or small, we just appreciated the offer because it costs money for them to do that.
Yeah.
It's that they're still invested in us, which is like one of the biggest
and they've been
things.
really cool because they've been retweeting our stuff and just different things. We've been getting like in the past month, we've gotten like 2.5 times the subscribers we've gotten previously.
And that feels really good because just to clarify, these guys are in the business. I mean, this is the business that we're talking about, and they really like.
They're the biggest YouTube partner now.
Fullscreen gets
Right.
like I think 7 or 8 million more than Machinima.
And they really
Everyone
like
knows Machinima.
the content that
Actually, I gotta
producing,
and they do a ton of web series type stuff. Like
Yeah.
their partner, they're more oriented toward that than they are toward other things. They've only just recently started a gaming hub kind of thing in the past few months. So, but yeah, just a little note about how big Fullscreen is. They set a YouTube record last month for the most unique views ever for a partnership network in a month with 40 million unique views.
Wow.
And I think I read they get around, I think it was like 2.6 billion views a month.
I have chills.
So they're big time.
Literally.
Like they're bigger than Machinima now.
Yeah,
That's
which is awesome.
bigger than I realized. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that we
they're
were talking
huge.
about billions.
Yeah, that's what she
of
said.
views, so.
So having
Alright.
having anybody from that company say,
Not
"Hey,
to
we
you.
wanna do you some advertising," is awesome for us. So, but yeah, so that's the setup, and then so Aaron was trying to come up with something. We were trying to come up with something that was 30 seconds long. The goal was to make a commercial to get people to click on it and go to our channel and look at stuff, right? Which worked to some extent.
To be fair, I did not realize that it was that 30 seconds had gone by. When you said 30 seconds, I was like, man, that's long.
I had to watch it 15 times to figure out what the heck was going on.
sure it seems long
There's
to
so
you.
much stuff going on in that thing. It's terrible.
It's like the those Old Spice commercials with Terry Crews, you know,
Yes.
or it's just like a bunch of crap just happens.
Well, that was my inspiration for coming up with the idea. But the problem is, and I'll say this before Aaron starts talking about what he had to do, my view for what I wanted to happen did not even come close to happening.
Well, I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah, it
And
just
it's
it
it's
morphed.
good.
It morphed
It's
into
just
this other
silly.
idea.
In terms of linearity, it makes sense.
Right.
In terms of making sense, it does not make sense.
That was kind of the point for that. But like it was supposed. Here's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to look like a bunch of cheesy filmmaking shots of cheesy stuff, but there was supposed to be some continuity from the beginning to the end that tied it all together with us shooting films, and it was supposed to say, "We're the Romantics. We make films."
That's kind of what I got.
Yeah.
That's,
So, but there was a couple of things that kind of got left out, and I kind of know why, but I'll let Aaron talk about it. That kind of
Or you could just let us keep
Took
on
a
believing
little-
that it's fine.
took a little. Well, a lot of people think it's great. I asked
I
a few
like it.
people. Asked a few people to like really honestly critique the thing, and they said a lot of things I was thinking too. So.
Yeah. I mean, I was laughing hysterically when I was watching it.
Yeah, it's just I think Aaron and I
Never
think,
trusting your opinion again on anything.
I think Aaron and I are biased because of the amount of work that went into this stupid little 30-second thing.
I can appreciate anything with 2 punchlines.
All right, so what do you have to say about it, Aaron?
You might have to cut this, and like we might have to do a second take on this one. But I tell people, or I don't tell anybody. I tell myself this. It was like sitting down to sculpt something and realizing that what I was using to sculpt was a big pile of poop. And no matter what I did to it, it was still going to be poop in the end. And it was all over my hands.
I just want to say,
poop look so good at the end of it.
I'd like to dedicate this fecal segment to my friend Amanda in Oklahoma City because she she was texting me yesterday about the podcast, and she I guess marathon listened to them.
Wow.
And sent me a message back and said, okay, I have 3 hours of work left with no one to talk about poop or barcodes on the no man's land. And I was like, and I sent her a text message back with a frowny face, and then another one that said poop, 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 poop. And she said, please elaborate. And I said feces, and she was like, you do so much for me. So that was a paraphrase. I don't really know what was said exactly. I remember saying poop, poop, poop.
There was
poop,
a lot
poop.
of poop involved.
Yeah,
That's
so
the point.
so this
What
is
are we doing?
this is an important part of people's lives, and I'm really glad that you represented that in this segment.
I don't understand.
This segment brought to you by poop.
I do understand why people are so
By Charmin.
why people don't like talking about it because it is an act that links us to animal. I mean, it reminds us that we all are just a bunch of animals.
I just don't.
And people want to think of themselves in an elevated manner.
I think people are okay with talking about it. They're just not okay with visualizing it. And past a certain point,
And now I just did.
past a, past a point that we usually take it to, you can't have one without the other.
Well, I never did until you just said visualize it. And now it's just getting worse.
Visualize
worse.
it. Never stop.
You need to
Never
get
stop
better
visualizing.
control of your visualizing
need to
sector
have,
of
like,
your
a
brain.
Mouth washed out with soap and my brain washed out with soap.
Squirt it in your ear.
Yeah,
I
like,
goes straight
visualize
to your
everything
brain.
all the time. It gets easy. It's
That's why he's
fine.
wearing those sunglasses. Because his eyes are just going like this.
It helps me. It helps me
they're,
better
constant,
focus on
they're like constant rim tape. They're
Yeah.
just
Okay, so on with the poop you were sculpting.
yeah.
Let's continue on.
So at a certain point, I was like, I can keep working on this and working on it,
denominator.
but it's not really going to help. I had to. It wasn't just simply editing. It was we shot green screen with this plane right here, and it looked what we had looked really neat.
That was Dan.
Yes.
Movie magic.
I had sound effect issues. Where were you? I don't know. I couldn't get the. I didn't ask him.
I didn't even. I didn't even know there was a commercial, guys, until yesterday.
So anyway, we shot lots of video of this plane doing maneuvers, and from every angle we shot it. But every time I took it into Premiere or After Effects to mess with it, I couldn't get anything close to usable. When you put it this close to a green screen and you light it, so much of the color from the screen is reflected back in light. So the whole thing has a green tint anywhere it's got light hitting it. So the shadows were fine, but all the areas that were lit up really well were green. And that was my concern when doing it, and you can't really tell in the little
you can't see
viewfinder.
that stuff with your eyes the same way. It's crazy. Like even just looking at the plane. I mean, it looked like there might be a tiny bit on the front edge of the wings or something, but
Your
it's
brain
crazy.
just compensates for that stuff.
It kind of does. It's crazy how when you put it into the program, all of a sudden the thing just looks like green as heck all over the place.
Yeah, and so all of that video footage was useless. So.
And the reason that happened is because we have terrible lighting set up. We're using a bunch of like 5000K fluorescent lights, and our green screen is too small, and it should be way farther away from the backing.
That does definitely contribute to it, but the main reason we had problems with this is, if you'll notice, it's reflective paint. It's shiny. If it was more of a matte finish, like, it wouldn't have been an issue. But it picks up on all those little on all the light, and it reflects green like crazy. So didn't really think that would be an issue. Like the green screen we did of ourselves, it was perfect. There's no problem. I could have spent a little more time to make it look
It was perfect.
a little better, but I was fine with it looking cheesy. I also had to. What'd I do? I was using Photoshop and Flash right along with Premiere, so I was alt-tabbing a bunch, going in and drawing stuff in Flash, and then importing it into Photoshop, getting rid of certain things, and then popping it over into Premiere. So the whole little sequence with Wes playing the video game took the most time. It was ridiculous. A lot of the time I also spent was trying to get that green screen usable. And it was terrible. So a lot of the time I put into it actually equated to nothing.
And on top of that, just a little bit of the disparity that happened between what we had not being usable. And Aaron actually worked on this crap for like 2 whole days, pretty much. Like the editing. This is a 32-second long commercial that took us an entire day and then 2 hours of the next morning to film. And then it took 2 entire days of editing. So it was almost as bad as like editing a full episode of The Romantics and filming it. So, what is that?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Dan's got friends.
So,
It's friendship.
My workplace is
we're
actually
getting buzzing.
blowing.
You probably
blowing me
can't.
up right
You can't
now.
hear that on the mics. I'm sure.
No.
No, not at all.
But so the original plan was to have the airplane like literally fly and follow the airplane from the beginning into and through every shot. And we ended up with like leaving the entire podcast shot out of it The podcast shot wasn't even in it. The plane was supposed to fly through the mics just to show, because this is a really cool looking with all the gear and stuff. And I was going to be sitting here dressed normal, just like adjusting stuff over here. And the plane was going to fly through, and I was going to kind of swat at it, and it was going to go into the next scene. So what ended up happening was...
That's not me.
What ended up happening was...
Why is my work calling you?
So what ended up happening was... for me, what I wanted was some of the continuity was lost, because you see the plane in a couple of shots like flying by, but it doesn't do all of the flying into every single scene. And we lost the whole podcast thing, which was supposed to show that we do podcasts too.
Yeah.
And,
well, but that gives, I mean, that opens a new opportunity to do like one or two more of these. Because I've seen, you know, with some, well, I mean, like, you know, with all of our
Aaron has completely written off green screen forever.
Oh, no, don't do that.
That's not fair.
No, because what I've seen with other channels, because I've seen commercials like this. Not like this, but commercials like this.
Never like this.
For other channels and stuff, and they usually have like 2 or 3, and so I don't know. So I mean, that just opens up our opportunity.
I'll tell you that an idea
opens up our opportunity to make Aaron sweat and slave for days on end.
Which I love, Aaron Sweaty.
When I'm editing this, I'm going to have y'all sit in there so you can learn how to do it and you can take over.
Yeah, we really.
I would
it would be
to.
awesome to have like a really good editor to do all this stuff.
It would be awesome to have a full-time job. Wait, I do have one.
Yeah, so you can. So you've got plenty of time to learn how to edit in Premiere, right, Dan?
Sure.
So let me tell you something real quick, Aaron. While we were doing all of this stuff, I had a better idea that would have used. Well, actually, I just want to say. There was no green screen involved in my original idea.
Yeah, but your original idea was half a page long.
The more I actually think about the commercial, the more I actually like it. Like the more I'm replaying it back in my head.
Yeah, I like
Most
it.
people said they had to watch. They watched it like 5 to 10 times.
Which is even better.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I was like, I found the humor in it and everything, and I thought it was funny. And then just the more and more I'm watching, it's like that was actually a really good idea. Like I thought, I was like, it's quote unquote crap, but it was like it was good.
Who are you quoting when you say that it's crap?
Aaron?
Himself? No, I said it was poop.
No,
whatever.
you said that you were working with poop
Yes.
when sculpting.
I actually don't think it's bad.
How was a metaphor?
Anyways,
I don't think it's bad. I think it's
Anyways, like I really like the more and more I'm thinking about it, like the more and more I actually am starting to like. The more and more I'm liking it and like thumbs up it in my head on YouTube.
Aaron is no one to listen to for a review on this commercial because he spent 2 days in his house, holed up in his little room.
I'm just trying to say I like it. That's
Yeah.
it.
So don't. Aaron's opinion on this thing actually doesn't count.
That's not true.
That is totally true.
It's not.
And I think one reason Aaron doesn't like it so much is because it was mostly my idea.
Would our YouTube viewers please just watch our commercial
And leave a comment about what you actually think
and
about
tell us
it.
what you think about the commercial.
Solve this problem.
And tell us what kind of wacky hijinks you'd like to see in our next 30-second segment so that we can not use your idea and then get sued for copyright infringement.
I actually added it to the romantics.
Common law copyright.
I think that it fits.
Common law.
I think that video fits perfectly into the romantics minis category.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
yeah.
that's enough about copyright.
That's good. Well, I have a couple questions about the green screen. So because when we use that the green screen we use in episode, I guess 3, with that whatever, that was just like a it looks like a outdoor tablecloth type of things, like a weird plastic sheet. But this one we have here is like a nice thick green felt.
This one behind the viewer.
Yeah, behind the camera, which is it might not even it couldn't even be there, and I could just be talking.
Don't turn around. You're actually not at your house right now. There's a green screen behind you.
I wonder how many people were like, what? Like look back behind them.
Probably no one.
But does it matter? Cause, because you worked with both. Does it matter the quality of green? Like
Yeah, it does. But that was like that's a great green screen. When it came.
That came from a company that makes Hollywood level stuff.
Right now, I was wondering if like that's the type of thing that like normal because I've seen like big green screen backdrops, and I have no idea.
The most important thing,
textures or anything.
The thing that's good about that is it has a sort of a foam backing on it, so it's stiff, and it has a texture on the front, which means it doesn't reflect any light. So really, the only thing that matters with a green screen is the color. Certain shades of green work better.
So like with this shade versus that shade, which is about the same shade as that, would that make a huge significant difference
Yeah, probably.
of like how you have to?
Yeah, you're talking about
manipulate
those
it?
little green palm trees on that
Yeah,
cup.
little green palm trees on the cup.
Yeah, but
It'd be
that
like a neon type of
also
green.
the paint on the little airplane base is paint that I ordered from the same company that matches that green screen.
Okay. Yeah, so if you had multiple greens, would that cause a huge problem?
No,
It
no.
can. It depends. It just depends on how
Because
far
I've seen
apart they are.
I've seen like news anchors like who wear green, you know, and just they just have like floating heads and arms.
Right.
And stuff.
Right.
Yeah, the biggest problem is the paint, the finish on the plane, because it picks up.
It's
because
it's really
sits
all
in
about
green.
it's really all about having no reflective surfaces and having good lighting.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And there's this very specific way to light stuff on green screen because if you cast shadows behind the person, the shadows can cause a problem. Just stuff like that. It makes the green two different shades.
Yep.
If you want to get really good green, you need a textured product with with really good lighting and stuff. What are you doing, Dan? You're freaking me out.
What are you doing, man?
Something on purpose. Okay, now next question is why green?
It's
What's birds
Birds? Where are the birds?
outside the window?
No. Yeah, so like because I've heard of a blue screen as
Yeah.
well, and I don't know if that's
Blue can work from everything.
obviously
that
I'm gonna say different because obviously it's different.
everything that I've
Because green and blue are
researched.
different colors.
Everything that I've researched, I think that
green has blue in it.
I don't know like the technical
Yes, it
aspects of how chroma key works, or how chroma programs work.
Or
but
how that word
green
means.
is usually better.
Well, I think it's simply green is not used as much as blue in certain scenes.
That's one
so,
thing. I've read a
yeah.
couple of like
think
really
that's all it
really technical articles though about the color spectrum and how like green is better barely.
Okay.
I just don't remember how to explain why.
Yeah.
But there is a reason that it is better. And like you said, like they will use blue in something that's got to have a bunch of green stuff in it.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And yeah, no, I just wondered why it was specifically green, and not like red or. So I wonder if like that's just the. That's what they've used, and so that's what they keep using is green, or if it's because there's a specific way the color is.
It has something to do with the color
the light and
spectrum.
stuff.
Yeah, there's
That's
something
cool.
to do with the color spectrum
I've
and the
always
way
wondered
green
that.
works. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it in detail, but I have read about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, I don't know what else to say really about the commercial, like what went into it. So if y'all have any questions about it, like any like specific things you can ask.
And the green screen stuff in the commercial, most of it was supposed to look cheesy, but it was
Right.
supposed to be cheesy on purpose.
Yeah, you want the right level of cheesy. You want it to look like you intended for something to happen. You always want people to laugh with you rather than at you.
I
And so
think
That's true.
Well, yeah, but I think what's cool about things like this, and I hope that this is what you were going for. I mean, it just looks like something that happens, and you're like, "Holy Moses, that just happened on the screen." So, I mean, it looks like if somebody actually went and did it, that you only spent about like 20 seconds like filming an actual little plane, and it was a crazy, and then stuff happened and you just caught it on camera. I mean, I think that's kind of what you're going for. Like,
Yeah, well, it's like you have 30 seconds to grab as much attention as you can
Well,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
them directed to where we
and
are.
and it's just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, and the
So,
little
I mean,
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
yeah, the little ending shot.
do you know what that's from, Vincent? Do you even know? That's a David Bowie line.
Is it from David Bowie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said? I
What?
know.
Wes, you're about to say
I thought that was
something?
from Disney.
Disney.
Well, they used that in Aladdin, but it was sped up. So you can't really hear it real well.
No, I was just gonna say that like the ends. I think that entire commercial would be terrible without the end scene.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the end scene what ties it all together.
yeah.
Because if it didn't have that, it would just
It
seem
ties-
like we made
the
a
end
crappy
scene
YouTube
ties
video.
the room together. So
Yeah. So also it
Big
also Aaron apologizes to his mom is very important.
that was pretty funny. Funny.
I forgot that was even in there. That was like the last thing I did. I was like, ooh, I almost said a bad word. I was like, F everything. Render. Go to sleep.
I told people
we're sitting in
that
a shower, cry.
I told people that you probably really meant that.
Really meant that.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
sorry mom thing because you had been sitting in your room crying for 2 days straight, and in the end you felt like worthless and abused.
Sitting in
bit.
your room crying, watching Korean dramas.
Yeah,
On
Boys
TV.
Over
No.
Flowers.
Sitting in your
I don't even
shower.
know
I was
that
too
means.
ashamed. I was too ashamed to, cry on the outside. So my body does this weird thing. Like my tear ducts are kind of rerouted, or there's a second route. So I just was crying into my mouth, and I had a little spit cup. I was just letting the tears fall out of my mouth.
That's disgusting.
There's a scene in one of the SpongeBob episodes where they're like crying into each other's mouths and spit, and then he like cries and like into like Patrick's mouth, and then Patrick like spits it back in SpongeBob's mouth, and they just like spit it back.
Yeah.
And forth.
It just occurred to me
Disgusting.
that on the floor of the ocean, no one would ever be able to tell that you're crying.
Yeah, there's not much logic in cartoons. I don't know if you know.
That blew my mind, though.
They have a lot of
They have a lot-
episodes to deal with.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Water.
there is like he goes.
Its properties.
They're like out there in the like the middle of like this ocean desert whatever. They're like there's wilderness and nothing around, and they have a fire there. And Patrick's like, how do we have a fire underwater? And then it just immediately cuts out. And it's like it goes psst, and then
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, that's a good call.
there's that whole entire episode where he goes to see the squirrel in her bubble of air.
Sandy.
Yeah, and it's like, why is she even down there?
yeah,
At the house,
love it.
at the house, if I'm like up and Tasha needs a drink, rather than asking me, "Hey, Aaron, would you grab me some water?" She'll just say,
I don't need it. Piggy.
I got together with some friends last weekend. Sorry, real quick. I had so much fun with you guys last weekend, and I hope that you guys had fun too.
Last weekend,
Yeah, last weekend.
what did we do?
I
We
don't
went to-
remember last
Oh!
weekend.
We went to Polish food and we saw Star Trek.
Oh
Into
yeah,
Darkness.
yeah, and then we went to Comic-Con.
You left at IHOP,
We went to IHOP before that,
and then
correct.
we went to Comic
And
Con.
then you left that. We went to podcast, and then we went to Comic-Con.
Well, no, then we went to a food truck, and then we went to Comic Con.
food
That
truck?
was
Where did you
at
go to
Comic-Con.
IHOP?
In the army,
It
we
wasn't-
call those gut trucks.
It wasn't in the building.
It wasn't in the building. We went to IHOP after after
Star Trek. Oh,
Let's
okay.
talk about Comic Con a little bit, Vincent.
Oh
So
my
Vincent and
gosh.
Dan both went to Comic Con. Vincent wore the GoPro Chesty camera. So we haven't extracted all the video yet, but we're gonna put some clips of some of this stuff up
Yeah.
on YouTube this week.
It's just like 3 hours and 30 minutes of me complaining, and then 30 minutes of celebrities walking by.
Yeah, it was.
Dan enjoys.
There was
Dan did not enjoy.
there was less people than I thought it was going to be, but there were still a lot of people. I'd say upwards to like some.
Well,
How many thousands do you
It
think
was
were there?
a billion thousand, but it was so
a billion thousands were there.
it was
a
so
lot.
poorly organized.
It was.
that group of people behaved like many more people.
Yeah, it was by far the worst. Okay, I'm gonna go and say I thought it was awesome.
It
I had
was fun. It was a very fun event.
Extremely awesome time. But as far as like logistics go, it was a terribly.
There's a
run
lot of
event.
irritation-worthy stuff.
There like lines were bad. It was just like people running around, just like, hey, you go there, you go
Well,
there.
Vincent,
here's this line. And
If it gives you any kind of impression, there were and there were only like a couple of those people. I mean, it wasn't like they had an army,
Yeah,
an
and-
organizational army. But just to give everybody an impression, they had volunteers, and I identified maybe 5 of them. I would say, I don't know, like 10,000 people. I'm not good at these things.
yeah, that's a good round number, 10,000. Yeah,
I saw
and
maybe
that's about how many were there.
I identified maybe 5 of these orange-shirted volunteers, and then like 2 professional people that were actually working for the convention
Yeah.
center. And just to give you an impression, Vincent wanted to get a volunteer shirt, and so it was at the end of Comic-Con or at the end of Saturday. They still had the shirts, so we assumed they weren't really going to do anything with them. And he went and talked to the lady. It was the second day. It was the end of the second day of Comic-Con. It was a 3-day event, and they were still accepting volunteers.
Yeah,
Wow.
Like that's how just wheels off this thing was. And
Well, somebody's got to clean it up.
It'll run itself.
I guess that's true.
it was
volunteering for the
it was
cleanup.
it was just so surprising because of how many actual A-list people that were there.
Now that's what was awesome. Unfortunately, Nathan Fillion wasn't able
Yeah,
to be
he
there.
had some.
but
I know.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I'll get to. But
Wow.
we had kind of close to the next best thing in that spectrum, which we'll get to in a second.
the next best thing.
Well,
Oh, we're talking about different people.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's like
Right. It's actually I kind of see them all as like just like one like amalgamous awesome Mobius, whatever.
Strip?
Yeah, I was
Sorry,
saying strip, but I
iTunes
wasn't really
listeners.
strip.
what?
That last 10 seconds was completely lost in the iTunes crowd.
That's okay. they need to go buy computers with monitors on.
Yeah.
them.
But so like we got there and we had a park. It was at a really nice convention spot.
Sorry.
Actually, it was a good place to have it. It was just
pretty too.
Yeah, it should have been more organized. But
That was the prettiest Comic-Con
it was in Las
ever.
it was in Las Colinas.
The convention center was pretty.
And like you get in and it's just like big posters of like it had like Nathan Fillion and like one of the posters and had Richard Dean Anderson and like another big poster thing as as you walk in. There's just like a horde of people and
MacGyver.
a few like just like those the entrance booths of like here's sign in, here's your stuff and blah 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 whatever. But like when we got there, they were I think it was just because of the capacity we actually had to sit outside under this parking garage. There was probably like a couple hundred people out there that they were letting in like 10 at a time. We probably had to wait out there for like 45 minutes. It wasn't too bad, but it was just like it was just a.
I mean, we were ogling half-clad sci-fi fantasy girls the entire time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
There was this Electra.
It wasn't as
right
bad as it
behind
could
us.
have
That
been.
was
Yeah,
nice.
but it was a sunny Texas afternoon in a parking garage for an hour and a half.
And we actually felt too bad because these two guys were in like full awesome COG uniforms from Gears of War.
Gears of War.
Like it was.
They looked
great.
really, really
Yeah.
good. They were like these like blown latex things, and they were really sharp, and they were really personable guys too. I mean, they were
they're cool
obviously one friendly, but two also like in convention mode and ready to talk about their.
And it was nice because, well, actually, there was a lot of people that we talked to and stuff. Everyone was very congenial. Everyone was very friendly and everything. And we actually,
Except that one guy.
yeah, except for Dan. But I think we talked to like 3 or 4 people, and they actually, when we talked about what we're doing, because they saw the chest cam and stuff, and they're like, oh, that's a cool idea. And so a few people came up and talked to me about it and talked about the GoPro and stuff.
We need cards.
I have something about the GoPro that I want to bring up, but
like they were asking me like, oh, how much like, is this the Hero 3 or this whatever? I was like, I don't know. Honestly, this is my friends. I'm not really sure.
yes.
But
You should have been like, what do you think?
we actually got a pretty cool opportunity to tell people about because they asked us, we got to tell them about the romantics and stuff, and they actually seemed very responsive to it. Like there's a few people.
Nobody gave you trouble
No,
about the camera?
No, actually, no one. Which I think it was because it was so poorly run. No one really cared.
It was so poorly run that they let us stand dangerously close to celebrities who people in line for them were like partitioned away from them, and we just stood on the other side of the line, and we're like, they instinctively like. As they're being paraded past these huge lines of people, it was like LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden, Brent Spiner, William Shatner,
yeah, all like a foot away from us.
I feel like someone else too, and they didn't want to look at the throng, so they just walked by and like smiled at us, and we're like, hey man,
yeah, and like
it was awesome.
Upwards like $100 to take pictures with these people, and I'm sitting there with like my GoPro on record, just like chest out at them, and it was
also LeVar Burton. How old is that guy now?
Doesn't look anything how old he is.
He's like ridiculously attractive. He's so good looking. Really? And Gates McFadden too. I mean, she's obviously a little older than she was back on TNG, and she was a mom then, but she's still like so beautiful.
And Brett Spiner actually they looked like he worked out.
He looks like such an artist, like such a.
I watched a show about people that have like strange fascinations with like addictions to celebrities or whatever. It was a show about stalkers. Mm-hmm. There was a lady on there that was a Brent Spiner stalker.
Oh, really?
And she lived like across a valley from where he lives, and she had a balcony, and she was always like looking with binoculars and stuff to see if she could see his house.
That's funny.
And she said sometimes she was like,
creepy.
sometimes when I get real stressed out when stuff's going on, I just come and sit out here on this balcony and I just think about Brent Spiner, and it relaxes me.
Huh.
I was like, wow.
I just think about how he didn't have feelings until the movies, and how I want to be like that.
He got a microchip.
He got a microfilm chip.
With a wink and a nod. Oh, Data doesn't feel things. Yeah, right, guys. Yeah, right. Spoiler alert: Data feels things.
He just doesn't know how to process it.
Right. He just doesn't know how to express it to himself.
He doesn't have that update yet.
To himself.
We're gonna wait for Data 2.0.
It's that weird green skin.
Hope it's in front of a green screen. Anyways, William Shatner also looks very good.
Yeah, he doesn't look anything close. He looked like he was the same age as the TNG people that we saw, and he's
what 90, like 91, 90?
No,
movie magic.
Maybe 81.
It's
maybe 71.
Aren't him and
he's not that old. Let's Google it.
Aren't him and Leonard Nimoy the same age?
I have no idea.
I heard somewhere that they are, and
Leonard
it's kind of
Nimoy's
funny
what, like
because
91?
What?
Leonard Nimoy's What did I just say? Glitter. I can't say.
Who knows?
Glitter lemons.
Glitter lemons.
Glitter lemons are on at noon. No, 'cause I heard somewhere that William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy are the same age, which is weird because Leonard Nimoy looks his age and William Shatner looks like
For those of you
brazen
at
god.
home, who don't know who Leonard Nimoy is, he plays William Bell on Fringe. He's also a nude photographer.
Also, okay. So also after, so we didn't really get to hit many like panels or anything. We tried to go to the William Shatner panel, but once we got to the line, he was like, one of the directors was like, okay, from you to like 20 people behind him are going to be the only people who will probably be able to get in. Like because of most of the people who are going to already be in there, and so we, whatever.
No point.
But which was good because we just walked around to this other ballroom. We walked in. First thing I see was John Noble's wonderful smile, and I was like, "Where, John Noble?
He's so chill.
Yeah, it's like we walked in. It's like, oh my god, this is like the part that I was looking for, and we just like walked in, and by that time it was like the end of when they were all signing autographs. It was just this big room, long table. It was like this long line of like 15 tables of all different people, and then you stand in line and you go and pay for a picture or whatever. And some of them you had to actually pay for a picture to be able to talk to them and stuff. But all the people were so. And this is actually the time where it was good that it was run so poorly because I was just like, can I just go up and talk to them? And one of the guys was like, yeah, just walk up with this lady. And then just kind of stand there with her or whatever, and then just talk to her afterwards.
And for those that don't know, John Noble, I guess most recently from Fringe, he plays the mad scientist.
John
in
Noble
Fringe.
is Walter Bishop in Fringe. He is Denethor.
Steward of Gondor.
Yeah,
Steward of Gondor, Lord of the Rings.
What a dick.
He's in L.A. Noir.
Yeah, he is in L.A. Noir.
He's in all kinds of
I forgot
stuff.
about that.
Yeah.
But he looks extremely good. Like because
he has an alarmingly Australian accent, which I knew he was from Australia, but I was not prepared for how different he sounds in person.
like it's like Aussie.
Yeah.
Straight.
Slang
For
and
real.
everything.
I'm not even going to try to do it because that would just be disrespectful. But it was funny because we went and talked to him, and it was awesome. But my whole thinking, because there were people like queuing up behind us to meet John Noble.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of chatting with him, and he was telling us like a story. And the whole time, I'm thinking, well, this is a busy guy. He's got autographs to sign. Let's move along. And then we would start to move on, and he's like not done talking to us. He's like, so anyway. And so we stood there for like
That's
5
cool.
minutes and talked to him about the woes of travel.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Yeah, and I mean he talked to, that was loud. I'm sorry guys. But he
You're fine.
talked to us.
We're having, just so you guys know, we're having a headphone amp difficulty
It's
today.
like little small
I apologize
things that are just
apologize if you guys can hear that. I'll have it fixed next week.
Yeah, I'm just
I don't
really
think they'll be
amped
able
about
to,
these
will
headphones. Is actually the
It keeps making like noises and popping and stuff. So
and I just briefly disconnected mine because I stepped on the cable. I didn't know it was there.
yeah. So anyway, John Noble.
Yeah, so he was a cool guy. I don't remember what I was saying. It's fine. If you haven't watched Fringe, I'm not going to judge you based on that. You have a window of opportunity.
Go watch it.
It is on
gonna be-
Netflix.
Yeah.
At least watch the first 2 seasons, which are amazing. And if you
If you want to stick around and watch the rest.
if you stick around through the 3rd season, it gets better again because of season 4. I'm like halfway through season 4, and it's really really good. So
I actually, my favorite person in that whole entire show is John Noble.
yeah.
he's
By
he's
far.
awesome,
Yeah.
and you get to see a lot of range from him after the first season.
yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I've only seen the first season and a couple of episodes of the
Well,
second.
you get to see him at different times in his life before a lot of the formative events happen.
Actually, I think I might have seen a couple of those things you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's you get to see him as a kind of a very different, kind of very. I'm an idiot.
Very
you get to
kinda.
see him as a really different character. But we also go ahead. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, I think what you're about to say. He was right next to Jessica Nicole, who plays Astrid in Fringe.
Right.
They had their own little table together.
She's Aussie too, right?
No.
No.
She's
What is she? She's something
American.
else,
She's
isn't
Cute.
American. Yeah,
Oh.
she is just as adorable
I
as she
thought
is
she
on
was
Fringe.
from Australia. Why did I think that?
I
No,
would. Oh,
Olivia.
she's British.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
falling all over myself at Jessica Nicole's table though, and I was and she could totally tell.
Literally, you guys should see it. It's really
but it was
weird
funny
looking.
like there was no one in front of her. Like there was no one like going out to talk to her or anything. And then there's like this big line for John Noble, and then she was kind of sitting there on her phone, and we just kind of walked up and we're just like, hey.
You
I got a
really.
camera.
How's it going? No, but the
You're
worst
really
part, by that time,
talented
like
and
by the time we
beautiful.
got that room, the battery had gone out, so I didn't get any of them. I know that was like the worst
That's
thing.
terrible.
But yeah, we're just like, we love you and you're so awesome. And
You did not get the John Noble stuff.
no,
And she wrote, I'm
That's
not.
the worst.
It was a little humbling, so I'm not gonna go into the logistics exactly. But I said something foolish, and then when she autographed my
Tit.
photo,
Dan's like lifts up his shirt and is like, sign my cleavage, please.
I'm never taking it back.
okay, it's not that embarrassing. I just think it would be like a boring story. But she wrote me like a little rhyme about my how poorly I speak.
She was
That's
like, what's your
hilarious.
name? It's like Dan or whatever, and
I
then
said-
she wrote
well, I
Dan
said-
or whatever.
I said,
on there.
my name's Dan, and I said, so I don't get a lot of autographs, y'all. I don't know how this works. so I was like, so you could just make it out to Dan or whatever, and because I'm an idiot. And so she writes this thing, and it was like, I don't remember what it said.
It said to Dan or
To
whatever,
Dan.
like
or whatever.
So great seeing you at Dallas Comic
No,
Con
it
or
was like to
something.
Dan or whatever. It was in verse. It's been such a pleasure
Yeah.
to meet you at Dallas Comic Con.
Wait, are you? I saw something about this on the internet not too long ago. I'll have to find the formula for you. But if you assign a numeric value to each of those, each of the letters that she wrote in your message, and then take whatever letter she's capped. Anyway, she's left her phone number for you in that message. You just got to decipher it.
You know, I absolutely would not believe that, except that if you watch Fringe, you know that Astrid is a cryptographer.
yeah, so possibly.
And also,
Uh-oh.
did you know that there's an alphanumeric code that uses a substitution system in every episode of Fringe? In fact, in many of them, there are two. The title cards that they use before and after each commercial break that show like an image with
Yeah.
a dot. Each of those images with the position of the dot, it's different every episode, but represents a letter of the alphabet, and it's always a
cool.
word that either pertains to the episode or foreshadows the next
I
episode.
figured those out in my head when I see them.
That's bullshit.
That's awesome.
I'm surprised you guys didn't do that.
Okay, but by this time, Dan leaves.
Left.
Like because you want to go get food, right?
I took some really shaming pictures of some ill-advised fairies and poison ivies. I took some
Fairies and poison ivies. There were a lot of those.
we saw
Well, by the end, they were
Poison-
gonna have the costume contest, so
Yeah.
a lot more people came in.
poison ivy was about our second or third most frequent costume that we saw.
I actually saw 3 of those old Flash Gordons, with
That's actually cool.
the white,
Yeah.
the white and red shirt, and then like
Flash,
The last one I saw was like this black guy. And he had that. And he had like this like slicked back,
yeah.
blonde wig and stuff. It was really funny.
That's
I
hilarious.
saw, I saw more Wonder Womans than
There was a lot of
Wonder
we
Women.
saw one big Wonder Woman.
There were Wonder Women and poison ivies of all shapes and sizes.
That's true,
and that's great.
And what?
And that's great.
and it's good.
And that
That's good.
But there were also, man.
I don't think that they should do it, but I'm glad that they have the guts to.
I don't think that they necessarily shouldn't. A lot of these people.
I'm talking about the big people.
Well, there were a lot of people that went with their SOs, and they were obviously like they loved it, and I think that that's. I don't even want to know right now. I want to know later.
It's personally just about Aaron.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not
Well, then I
sending messages about
then I
it.
definitely want to know later. I thought this was like GURPS for a
Oh,
second.
you might find out before later.
Aaron got a text message.
If it's from Jessica Nicole, I'm going to come over this table and get the hell from you. Anyway, what? Oh yeah, so there were like the Wonder Woman that Vincent was talking about in line. She was there with her boyfriend, and they obviously were having such a blast. I mean, he was like, he felt great. And he was talking to everyone around him about comics, and they all knew what he was talking about. And I think, like in his mind, he was like, "This is the first time since last year."
Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah, but it was awesome. People
And he's
were
there
really,
with his girlfriend or wife or whatever who's
Yeah.
dressed up.
Yeah. No, of course.
Totally cool.
And there's a lot of we actually saw this one family. They were all. It was Thor.
Oh, yeah.
It was
forgot
the,
about
the
them.
dad. It was like Thor, and he had this like real big mullet and everything. And then his son was
Loki.
was Loki, and then his wife was I think it was some
Just
some of the
Sif or
ex-
something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't remember.
And,
Sorry.
And it was just like they were like super nice, and it was really funny. We told them about the romantics and stuff.
Well, they
Yeah.
had
Got
a
some video.
daughter that was dressed up too.
Oh yeah, it
family
was a
four.
daughter Thor as well. Like it was he was wearing the Avengers Thor, like from the new Avengers movie, and she was
Yeah.
wearing the Ultimate Thor.
Oh, was she? Because
Yeah.
there's also a Thor girl in the comics. I didn't.
I guess I might have heard that.
There were also some really cute teenage girl Avengers. There was like a whole cast.
Yeah.
And I saw it's really. I got a picture with this really attractive Miss Avenger,
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Damn it, that's the second time I did that
Miss
then
Avenger.
too.
And he got a picture with a giant Wookiee on stilts.
Oh.
It was a
That's
stilt
cool.
costume. It wasn't like a Wookiee wearing.
He was
stilt.
probably
Right.
8-9 feet tall.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
You said you saw a bunch of Poison Ivies.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Poison Ivy is that popular of a comic book character,
No,
or
but-
do you think that that's one of the excuses to wear skimpy
I think
outfits?
two
Yeah.
things. I think
That's
I agree with Vincent, who agrees with you.
Right. That's like an agreement by proxy.
Also, you can make that costume by going to Hobby Lobby.
believe that was,
Right.
I believe that was a Mexican agreement.
Or the Woods.
I also straight up, and you say we're not comedians, Wes. But also,
guys.
I also think that like a lot, especially girls my age who were around when that Joel Schumacher movie, that horrible Uma Thurman Joel Schumacher movie. I think that there are a lot more and more girls all of the time. Thanks, girls, are taking an interest in the things that we grew up with. And we've talked about this on the podcast like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But, this is kind of the age of those interests, and so a lot of people are really into, especially like Firefly. Like a lot of girls who were never into science fiction before got into Firefly and were like, "Hey, science fiction is cool."
They all wanted to be space prostitutes.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know
There's,
about that. I don't think.
kidding.
I don't think that about you.
They're
ladies.
space escorts.
For people that don't know about that, there's a space prostitute in Firefly.
I think that you're.
No, space companions. That's what they call them.
I think that your interests are legitimate, ladies, and I don't think that you have any ulterior motives.
So now that we're on the side of
Anyway, my point is that I think that there are a lot of hardcore fans, but there are also a lot of pseudo fans that just want to go to Comic-Con and throw
Right.
on a costume.
Yeah.
And if I'm offending anybody on our YouTube channel that was dressed as Poison Ivy, I'm not talking about you. You might have been an awesome Poison Ivy, and she might be your favorite character. And you might just like the idea of a hot chick that intoxicates men with her pheromones, but
And her leaves.
and breastises. But
That's an important part.
but but I do think it's something that people know. They're like, oh, there's Comic-Con, or oh, my boyfriend is going to Comic-Con, or my friends are going to Comic-Con. I saw this movie once with this chick who was hot and wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, and I look getting green.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
I think and Wonder Woman is another really iconic character. We saw a bunch of Supermen too.
I can
It's not
understand
just
Wonder
women.
Woman. Wonder Woman makes sense to me because
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is like the woman.
There's like the one, right? Because we
Yeah.
saw some Supermen and some Batman, of
Right,
course,
right,
too.
right.
And there's 2 of the big DC males, and I think that's why
Right.
we didn't see as many, is because it's like a personality thing. Like you would be Superman, like
Right.
if you had to be somebody, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this side of the table are more brooding. You're not brooding, Vincent.
I can be brood.
I
I
brood.
can't.
I brood.
I can brood when I want to brood.
I brood all the time. I'm gonna go home after this and I'm gonna brood. And
I brewed potions.
I don't. When I do that, I don't. Oh, you could have said beer, and that would have been less nerdy.
Well, this is a nerdy podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you don't. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be nerdy.
The only LAN party I went to in high school, somebody brought their own brew, but it was like this homemade mead that
Was
he
it-
pumped out of a keg.
Was it from grape?
Was it gross?
It was 95% head, and the bottom was just like thick honey.
Gross.
It's disgusting.
Ew.
Sounds sexy.
I always
Sweet as hell.
I always feel guilty about that because then it's like you're being selfish when it's 95% head with the beer because I want to drink it all.
There's
Right.
there's a ton of Doctor Who's there as well. There's I think 4 different ones.
There were some really cute girl doctors. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
say that, and a really amazing. We talked to one a little bit, and hopefully hopefully our listeners and viewers will get to see this. Our viewers will. Our listeners won't.
But the listeners can if they want to hop over to YouTube
Yeah,
and
That's true.
glance
That's true.
at our.
Which we
very true.
highly encourage.
Yeah, hop over to YouTube. It's just youtube.com/
/YouTube.
I mean the Romantics WB.
Yep.
No, it's a /
Is it /?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
If
My
it's-
brain
it's
was
forward
backwards.
into a directory. That is.
So it's the Romantics WB, like one word. So you can see. We'll put those Comic-Con videos up sometime this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he
it was it was a really good doctor.
Yeah, he actually looked. It was a Matt Smith doctor. He actually looked a lot like Matt Smith. And then we talked to him for a second, and then he actually went straight into character, and then was and, started poking and prodding at the camera, and he's like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
whatever.
That
less
is crazy.
Cockney. He was really cool, really nice guy and stuff. And
There were some good DTs too. We saw a really good David Tennant doctor.
oh yeah,
We saw
How
a
do you
bunch of
play-
Tom Bakers too.
Were there any like Amy Ponds? Like, how do you play
No,
Amy
but
Pond?
I didn't see a
There was
single
a few-
companion that
there
I
was a few.
recognized.
The dog.
Oh, we saw a girl in a K9.
Yeah, in a K9
Oh,
costume.
really?
This is like an anime trend, and I don't know how I feel about it. Let me finish. But there are a
know
lot
what you're
of
talking about.
there are a lot of things that are like a costume that can't really exist
Right.
because it's not human shaped, and then it gets adapted into like a cute
Oh, yeah,
cute
yeah.
girl outfit.
Yeah.
Like a robot dog gets made into a cute girl outfit.
It's just like they do that stuff in the art. They make these cutesy versions.
right, or like a girl dresses as Yoshi the dinosaur or something.
Right.
But it's like a cute thing, and
I think I'd rather see a prop with the
But
person.
she pulled it off extremely well.
we saw a bunch that I was really impressed by.
Yeah.
That I thought were really cool.
Yeah, where they kind of like human, like they
Because
human formed it.
you can't go for accuracy with that, but you can go for creativity. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do really well
Yeah.
with that.
Oh yeah, That
a
was
lot of those
awesome.
people just do that stuff all the time. Like they make costumes
Right.
all the time.
Yeah,
Some
I-
people sell them.
I actually have a friend at school. She is like a hardcore cosplayer. Like and she's really good at it too. Like she's actually been on a few panels, I think, at like Acon and stuff, where like they spend like all year like finding out which costumes they want to make, and doing the hair specifically, and all
Can you
very
name
awesome
drop or
I don't think she even watches. I'm not really sure, but
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
fine.
her name's Rachel.
Nobody would know
I
who
would-
she was. Anyway.
Is this one that I know?
No,
Or no?
no.
I don't-
I know like 7 Rachels.
Yeah. I've never heard the name before I met you.
Which
actually.
which number Rachel would you consider this Rachel?
Oh,
out of 7.
This is the newest one I've met. I don't
Like,
know.
So
like
7.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know.
she's the 7th. She's the newest one.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so I'm gonna say who else was that? So when after we met John Noble and Jessica Nicole, you left, and I was still like starstruck by everybody else.
I just went to get food.
Right. Well, you left the room that we were in that I stayed at.
And I also felt like people were looking at us in a bad way, not in a good
Like
way.
those
I didn't care.
guys
I didn't care. I was having a great time.
getting all the attention.
But
They were like, because Vincent's like, let's hang out up front at the table with the autograph people, even though we're not buying autographs. And I was like, I feel like a cad, and I'm leaving.
so then I stayed, and I got to. After that, I stood in line.
Moving on with the cool guy.
And what I was saying was, since Nathan Fillion wasn't there, Adam Baldwin was there, who plays
yeah.
Jane in Firefly and Serenity and
Right.
stuff. And so,
For the viewers at home, Jane is a male character.
yes.
Yes. He's the big tough guy.
Yeah. And
Also really
and so
funny.
I wanted to talk to him and stuff, and he was the one I was most excited about alongside with John Noble, and I wanted to talk to him, and which was weird because I had watched Full Metal Jacket like 2 days before.
Oh, yeah.
And I had not realized that he was in it, and so when I talked to him and stuff, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm like a huge fan," and which everyone says. And then I was like, I just watched Full Metal Jacket like a couple of days ago, and I didn't even realize you were in it. And he was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Did you like it?" I was like, "Yeah, I love that movie." He was like, "Yeah, I really enjoyed doing it and stuff."
He's also a recurring villain on the last few seasons of the X-Files.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's cool.
He's cool. I've liked him.
Yeah,
and
like
everything
he was,
he's in.
and he was,
He's
and
good.
I was like, I just want to say, it's great pleasure to meet you. And he's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Vincent." He's like, "Vincent, it is it's like, it is really nice to meet you too." And I
Thanks
shook
for
his
saying
hand.
something besides Firefly.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh," he said my name, and then he shook my hand while he said my name.
And then I had to change my pants.
Yeah.
And then I got out my saran wrap and wrapped that hand up real good.
There's a fairly good chance while he was brushing his teeth the next morning that he actually thought about your interaction.
That's possible. Or while he was pooping.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably during the poop.
So
Amanda, that was for you.
He was he was a super nice guy, and then I went and stood in line for line. It was like I probably didn't stand for in a line more than like
He means
5
he cut in
minutes.
line, went to the table.
I mean,
it's kind of
there's
like
cutting.
it was a line of one.
I went and talked to Richard Dean Anderson, who is don't know his name in Stargate. I can't remember Captain something. And he was also MacGyver. Yeah, he was MacGyver.
So just for
And,
the record, that would have been my favorite person to meet. I grew up watching MacGyver with my grandpa, and I loved
yeah.
it.
I'm really sorry
I
to
also
do this.
grew up
But
on
quick
that show.
question. Was it Michael Landon in Knight Rider?
No, it was not Michael
What?
Landon in Knight Rider.
What?
Michael Landon
That
is
was
Little House
David
on the
Hasselhoff,
Prairie,
wasn't
homie.
it?
David
Holmes.
Dusseldorf.
David Dusseldorf, yeah. That's right.
It's David Hasselhoff.
It's that guy
Michael-
with that amazing album.
Michael Landon wasn't in the pilot or anything. He didn't have anything to do with that show.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the room. Michael Landon is much older than David Hasselhoff and also dead.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Vince. What were you
No,
saying?
but they
that
He
was
died
on-
on the prairie.
I want to let our viewers and listeners know that was on purpose.
What?
That-
My question, yes, it was on purpose.
Michael Landon died on the
I
prairie
didn't
for
stumble
me.
into a question.
When that show jumped the shark in the pilot.
This is the second podcast that
We've
we've
talked about
referenced Little House on the Prairie. What is going on?
Well, I know for me,
I used to watch it a lot when I was younger.
I did too.
I really like Gudrun Gut, and there's a song where she talks about it.
Oh yeah, you said that. I think you said that, but I don't remember if it was in reference to Little House on the Prairie or not.
Probably.
But the best part,
Oh, because we were talking about Mary going blind, and that's
Yes,
what they
yeah,
talk about
yes.
in the song.
yeah.
There's a girl going blind on TV.
and they didn't have the means to cure her. The what,
Oh, Mary, what's the matter, Mary?
how many fingers am I holding up, Mary?
Here's your supper, Mary. Oh, we got a house with real glass windows, Mary. Psych.
But
Terrible.
The coolest thing about Richard, when I was talking to Richard Dean Anderson, John Noble walked up like right next to me, and he is fit as a fiddle. My goodness.
Who? John Noble?
If
John
I ever
Noble,
meet
he
Rich-
looks really, really good. Richard Anderson looks bad.
If I ever meet,
He got old looking.
he did.
Yeah.
If I ever
He got
meet
big.
Richard Dean
It's
Anderson, I'm just gonna be like, so what's it like to not be Kurt Russell?
Oh, that's terrible.
that was for you, Gavin.
Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Poor Richard Dean Anderson.
No, I grew up on MacGyver too, and I loved it.
I'm watching it now, actually.
Did you ever watch? There was a. I'm sorry. We'll talk about this in a minute. John Noble walked up to you, next to you, while you were talking to Richard Dean Anderson.
Well, I looked at him, and he just like looked at me, and I was like,
He was also wearing like kind of a sexy.
yeah.
He was wearing like
very,
a
very nicely fitted
like
shirt.
a tight V-neck fitted shirt with,
Yeah.
He was wearing spandex
the
pants
sleeves
and an
rolled up.
Under Armour shirt.
His forearms were really impressive.
Yeah, it looked like a super nice.
Wow, he's got some nice
He was
forearms.
really nice. Yeah, well,
He
it
must do that thing with a weight and the rope on the
When
stick.
you shook his hand, did you
This one.
work
was
your
it
way up the
called?
arm?
and then just work my way down his body.
We talked about the thing that's like a Nerf wand that's
Can't reach.
weighted on the end.
Oh yeah, the shake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the most amazing workout ever. You ever seen that? It looks like a ski.
Yeah, just
Like a really
you get to,
flexible
like,
ski.
like
You shake
this.
it.
Yeah.
I'm getting in shape.
I see. I want one. Like, especially after this conversation.
I want one just to have it. It's just, I mean, I grew up with sticks on the farm, and I like all kinds of sticks. I would figure out a way to play with it. It's kind of like a sword on both ends.
Your childhood sounds so bad.
Yeah.
I grew up with sticks and rocks. One time I got coal in my stocking and I actually really liked it. They gave us fire for the next winter.
Also,
It was
fell in-
completely different from the sand I'm used to.
I used to swim. This is a good one to fit the story. One time, I found a big old piece of plywood that my grandpa
It
had
was my birthday.
stuck beside the barn, and it was like 4 foot wide by
If I only had a ball to hit this with.
like 6 foot long, and I thought I could make a boat out of it. So I got in our dirty ass old pond on that piece of plywood and paddled myself around the pond on like a daily basis for like 2 weeks.
Your boat was just a.
Then I started getting these tiny little pink worm looking things that were actually penetrating my skin that I would have to pull out. So I never got back in that pond again. No, this really happened.
That gave me a literal chill, and then I bucked my headset.
And now the first time I ever saw that thing about brain worms, now I feel like that's what that was in that pond, and they're probably in my brain.
Probably
Brainworms don't kill you.
know.
You could go your whole life without knowing that you had them.
They do kill you, Aaron. Do you not remember that stuff that you sent me when we worked together?
Oh, yeah.
It's-
Aaron is bad about doing that.
Brainworms killed the hell out of that man.
Is that what killed him?
Yes, they constricted around his head until there wasn't room anymore, and he died.
I'm gonna try to find that picture again.
of contusions.
I'll post it in the comments.
It was
terrible.
It was sent to Gmail, which is a beautiful application. So I'll just search brain worms and
Shoot it on back to me.
send it back to you.
Okay.
7 years hence or whatever. Hey, you ruined fish for me
Oh yeah.
for so long.
I think that's what it was. Supposedly the guy was eating
Don't say I still have
some
half
really
fish left in my
expensive, dangerous
refrigerator.
sushi.
In Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Sashimi. Sorry. Yeah, he was eating some bad stuff.
Ugh. Stuff dangerous.
You-
Stuff dangerous. Isn't there? There's like a really fine piece of pufferfish that's extremely hard to make,
Cut.
and like you'll die if it's not like
cut wrong, yeah.
cut, specifically perfect.
Yeah.
Can I, since we're talking about fish, that it was a stream of consciousness thing. I went with a friend of mine who had some cool fish stories. We were talking about the mimic octopus and some other stuff. The mimic octopus is amazing. Go on YouTube. Go on YouTube. Stop watching this podcast.
No,
Okay, don't.
Don't stop.
Never stop.
never stop.
But when you're done, go look at. I mean, click on some of our other things. Watch that commercial too because it's hilarious. But then search the mimic octopus and watch it.
It walks around the streets
and
looking like a
what's-
person.
Wait,
killing
who's
people.
what's the other thing? The laser shrimp, the pistol shrimp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen
yeah,
those.
they're like
It's the best animal.
The pistol shrimp
It's the
is
best.
being.
Hey, guys.
wasn't he a basketball player?
Pistol shrimp.
Yeah.
Pistol shrimp Maravich.
Yeah. His technique with shooting the ball was real weird. He just pinched it real hard and shot it out at lightning speed.
So okay,
Like a bar of soap. Just
Man, that guy's good.
but no, this shrimp shoots laser beams. Basically, it's a sonic blast
Yeah.
that reaches the surface temperature of the sun.
Yep.
search the
How
surface
big are they?
temperature of your mind.
They're super small.
Yeah, like itty bitty teeny.
So it
weeny.
wouldn't
They're
would it
like
kill
little-
me if it
they're
shot
like little
me?
guys.
If
I
you
think it
put
would
it
leave
in-
a hole in your hand.
If it did it in your if it got in your ear,
Why would
and-
it get in your ear?
you're swimming around.
Because Aaron has an ear thing.
No, I don't.
You're swimming around and
I
you're
don't have
like
that anymore.
a
You
funnel
will.
in your
Get rid
ear
of
and
it.
you're shoving shrimp in there.
We should make a minis episode about the pistol shrimp that killed our best friend.
What I was going to say
In his
though,
ear.
sorry, what incited this conversation initially was we went to the Perot Museum and we were looking at.
Which is
doing
very
anything with
strange
the light.
because
Shut
my
up.
wife and I went to that
Shut
like the
up.
day before that.
Okay, it's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you live in the DFW area and you haven't been to the Perot Museum,
I think Justin
It's
photographs that place.
it's the Museum of Science and Nature,
Yeah.
natural science, something
the
like that.
Perot Museum of stuff that's awesome.
It's right in the middle of Dallas.
It's got like a chime in the front when you walk out, you can beat on.
It's got a shaman in the front who's beating on the chime.
If you don't know where it is, it's right across the street from El Phoenix.
That is a weird, gigantic El Phoenix, by the way.
Yeah, I go there all the time. This place is great.
Really?
Oh yeah.
To that one?
Is
Yeah,
it?
I've been to that one probably like 20, 30
It's
times.
part of the El
Oh, does
Phoenix
does one of the Rachels
family
live
of
out there?
restaurants.
Yes.
No, well, I mean,
It is
we
El
go to
Phoenix.
First Baptist Dallas, and so it's just
Oh,
like
El
right
Phoenix
down the street.
Well, maybe that El
You
Phoenix.
suck.
Wait, why do you suck? Why does Aaron
Did you
suck?
say El Phoenix?
He doesn't like El Phoenix.
Why not? El Phoenix is
I
so
thought it was
good.
like a well-known thing.
All I've ever
I
had
don't
there
know.
is
That's
Probably
drinks
El
and
Chico's.
Maybe that's
Oh, you're thinking of El Chico's. El Phoenix is a little more upscale. Like El Chico's.
El Chico's, El Phoenix on the border.
No,
on the border is like on the bottom for me.
Like
That's it. I'm gonna
no.
wrestle you
I'm
hard.
saying like in the quality of
I'll
like
wrestle you.
restaurant, and so like on the
It's
border,
like-
like on the border Chili's up here.
it's sort of.
It's not necessarily awesome food. It's just like you pay more. for
It's
the
sort
food.
of fancy.
okay.
I paid
Yeah.
$24 for a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah. Why?
Maybe I've never been
I
to
don't
El
care.
Phoenix. 'cause
I
that
was-
doesn't
I
sound
guess-
You've
great
been
to
telling
me.
me for years that El Phoenix was crap, and so I don't go to them because of you, Aaron. And you've been wrong, apparently.
El Chico's is crap. El Chico's has a buffet.
I know El Chico's is
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, El Chico's is like the one you see in like
El
shopping mall
The
things.
ghetto.
El
Yeah.
Phoenix has like it's the
Strip malls.
the walls and ceilings are painted with like Trump oil to make you feel like you're in the old country. and
Okay,
stuff.
El Phoenix
Yeah.
is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't stand it. I'm sorry.
Wait, you are talking about El Phoenix? Aw. That's okay.
I like crappy Mexican food,
our
but just not
differences
that
make
one.
us stronger.
It's not, but it's not crap.
my hand.
Is the thing. It's probably
my
just
hand.
nicer than what you're used to.
Our differences,
maybe.
our
Your
differences
differences make you
make us stronger.
weak.
Hey, let's talk about some YouTube stuff, guys.
Okay.
Real quick. So we asked a question last week about like what do people watch on YouTube, right?
Which I need to make that blog post. I'm
Right.
trying to get the stuff for today.
Yeah, so JTW said he likes watching strategy and RPG game playthroughs, so he watches Yogscast and Jeff Major. Is Jeff Major the Xbox guy?
I thought he was the guy from I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah. What? Wait.
He's like 90, doing RPG stuff.
Well, he just
gameplay.
he just died because of he was in Dallas. They
yeah,
launched the new Dallas show. He's the main character, and he was like 90. And I said in the theater when we saw a trailer for that before a movie, I was there with 3 people, and I was like, "That's a bad idea." And they were like, "Why?" I was like, "Lee Majors is gonna die."
That's not Lee Majors.
Lee Majors. It's not Lee Majors.
It's not Lee Majors.
No.
Who is it?
Lee Majors is
that's
$6 million
embarrassing.
man.
Yeah.
Bet Dan feels
Or
stupid.
the Fall Guy.
Oh, you're right. Who was I talking about?
I don't know that guy's name, but he was like 90 also.
We should know his name. It's
No,
Should we know his name?
You're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to have a $6 million man action figure, and you
Yeah.
could look through his
I loved that
eyeball.
show. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I never got to
Popular
own it. I
action
just
figure.
had sticks.
He didn't have any clothes. My grandparents sent it to
But
me.
he still had that sweet eyeball.
Yeah. Oh man.
That was cool for
Well,
a
it's
toy.
more than Wes had.
I take a naked $6 million man.
He's got 2 sweet eyeballs. I'm sitting right across from him.
No, I mean, like he had
terrible.
sticks and rocks as toys.
I got it.
Right.
So Curry Muncher actually responded about our Indian food talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said, "Cheers, Dan. This was definitely the best and funniest cast so far.
Hey.
Wes, you would
Thanks.
be able to manage a korma curry. Unfortunately, in the 2.5 years in the States, I've never found one half decent Indian food place.
Well,
I will agree with Aaron as well about Cracker Barrel.
To that Curry Muncher, I don't know where in the country you are. I've been to a lot of Indian food places in the area that I thought were not good, but there's one in Plano, Texas that's really delicious.
What's it called? You remember?
Taste of Poland.
It's Maharaja.
Taste of Poland Indian food.
DFW is a bit different. Like the area is a bit different. It does have typically better food than you get anywhere else. In
Yeah.
It's such a smattering of people here.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people from other countries that have been here for a really long time.
You got tons of
already.
people from Chicago that come down, and we have like that Chicago cuisine here. Yeah.
It's either Maharaja or Maharaji's, but it's really delicious.
DFW is a great place to pack the calories.
And then the rest of his comment, he said, favorite food for me, well, Indian and Asian. The hotter, the better. You've not had a good curry if you can still feel your lips.
Is he Indian? Is Curry much Indian?
Injured?
Is he injured? Is he okay?
Are you injured? So, yeah, and then let's see what
Speaking of
else we got
spicy,
here.
real quick,
spicy
I
is
ate a habanero yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I just every once in a while I'll do it, and I am paying
just to
for
feel
it
alive?
at the moment.
Is it one of your better rituals?
No, that's one of my worst.
He rubs it around his eyes first.
Ooh.
Aaron just needs to get a good cry every now and then.
You start doing buchalokias.
What?
You start doing buchalokias.
I'm not going
speaking
to.
English.
I drink too much coffee. I think I actually would.
Buchalokia.
Speaking of a good
would be
cry,
hurt.
the only thing I remember about that second C.S. Lewis book in that fantasy series, well, not the only thing, but the only character thing.
The Mars series or whatever.
No, the fantasy one. What's it called? Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, Narnia.
Yeah, when the first time I heard the expression "a good cry" was when the professor is a little boy. He goes
Yeah.
outside and cries and like rubs dirt in his
Right.
face
Yeah. I remember
to make
that.
himself as like hideous as possible.
All right, so let's see what else we got here. Okay, so Elo, he made a comment last week, and I think that a piece that I cut out of the podcast was something that we answered, and I cut a little piece out. So his question, he was the one that asked the question Aaron about in the episode Burned. Aaron's writing on the computer, and you can see the title Pen and Paper.
yeah.
Will Pen and Paper have something to do with the web series?
Everything that I look at my life as a TV show, and
I never saw
I
it.
everything I
I've
do
only seen
ties into
pieces of
something else. So that's all I really can say about that.
Yeah, I think you can just probably consider it like an Easter egg right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it makes me think of like Stephen King stuff. Like all his stuff exists in the same universe, even if it's not, it doesn't seem like it has anything else to do with it.
In case you did miss the podcast from a couple weeks ago, though, I mean, we did talk a little bit about Pen and Paper, and it's our other.
Much more massive project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a much bigger project. Well, I mean,
It is. I think so. I think it has a bigger scope.
it's a different project in terms of hours invested. It's actually a much smaller project. Well,
so far.
unless you multiply it by the number of people involved, and then it's great.
Yeah, and the amount of editing that Aaron's gonna have
Yeah.
to do for the whole thing too.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's gonna be
The
huge.
stuff I've
but
always
it's another project.
Yeah.
it's a separate project. So okay, so Elo also asked if we're gonna ever do a live stream podcast.
We had
We're
we
so
had
inappropriate.
mentioned we had talked about like trying to do one at see if we can try to do one at a con or something like that. We
That'd
talked
be
about
cool.
that. Just like trying to set something up. But would it be cool? Like we do a live one and then have like a Twitter feed on, and we have people to talk to.
Yeah, that'd be wicked cool.
So we are planning on having guests. My laptop that I bought for this stuff to keep in here actually got shipped. It wasn't actually supposed to be here till July, but it got shipped. It's supposed to be here Wednesday.
Oh,
Cool,
sweet.
man.
So it might take me another week after that to get everything working right before we use it. But we plan on doing like some interviews and stuff. Rushlock's going to be our first live guest.
I love you, Rushlock.
So we're gonna do a Rushlock interview thing over Skype. Rushlock owns a board game and like card game store in Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get to apologize kind of in person for the Minecraft fiasco. So I'll just start right now. Sorry, Rushlock.
You've apologized for that so many times already, like on the internet.
The other day I got in that server and looked around and thought, oh gosh, I feel like shit.
That was me. Sorry.
Did you just curse?
Yeah, I think I did a little bit.
It was just it was PG.
Dang it! We made it all the way through until that.
13.
No, there's a few.
Somebody else said something else.
There's no.
I haven't I didn't this time.
There's been some swearing.
Some
You did a couple
mild
times.
swearing.
Yeah, whatever.
I think we're good this time. So yeah, that's pretty much all the question topics we have. We need to come up with something for.
question.
We need to have a question for next week.
Shoot.
A question?
For people
Okay.
to answer.
I got a question.
Make sure it's
very
really
specific.
good, Aaron.
It's about the movie John Dies at the End. I want to know if people have read the book or have seen the
I
movie.
haven't even heard of it.
Well,
It's on Netflix.
should watch it.
I'll watch it this week. Yeah.
I would like to talk about that movie. I think it's got a lot of.
That is pretty specific.
Yeah,
a lot of
but it
people
can-
probably won't be able to watch that.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, and tons of people that watch this are in other countries that don't have Netflix.
Okay. Well, my question for you is: have you seen John Dies at the End or read the book?
Okay. So that's one.
Let's try to watch John Dies
Can I-
by this week.
Can I answer that question right now?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So Vincent, you got anything?
No, I was trying to think. I don't really have any questions.
What about something? Did Comic-Con inspire you to think about anything? I mean,
John
they-
Noble's body.
Inspired you to have a thought that day.
Just how much I want to be there. Oh, well, I mean, actually, real quick, another really cool thing. Kevin Conroy was there, and he was saying that he's going to continue to be the voice of Batman. He said that at Dallas Comic Con.
That's awesome.
That was cool.
Two quick things whenever you're done about the voice of Batman. Go on.
That was it. That was
Okay.
That was just a little plug.
Okay, well, for one thing, did you know that Bruce Greenwood, who played Captain Pike in the two Star Trek movies,
Right.
is the voice of Batman in Young Justice? And
I did not know that.
Some other stuff, some other movies, like direct-to-video
cool.
movies.
That's cool.
I think he has a really cool voice.
Yeah.
But
Anybody who does play like all the Batmans I've seen, all have had really like nice voices that I've wanted.
also, I just realized I was going to tell
want you for your vocals.
Ca-
Did I say vocals?
Yes.
your Vox.
Ignore that.
Okay.
Thanks. I feel better now.
Kevin Conroy was. I might have already like told this story. I just thought it was cool. I might have already told it on the podcast or whatever. But how he didn't know anything about Batman. His agent got him the job, and he was like, I don't know if I want to be a superhero. But then he read the script, and then he went back. and, like,
that?
Yeah.
He went back and read the origin.
For real.
Yeah. But he went back and read the origin story of Batman or whatever, and he was like, wait a minute, Batman is Hamlet. Hell yes, I will take this job. And now, I mean, he's one of the top 3 most recognized iterations on film or television of that character.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
that's
like 90% of every animated Batman that there is.
probably more like 75 now, just because they produce so many little movies now.
He's doing all the games, anything in any other voice for any
But
other
yeah.
games.
Does Mark
it's
Hamill,
like Mark Hamill for the Joker.
does Mark Hamill do the Joker in the Arkham? Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
Did he do the Lego game? Do you know?
I don't know.
Don't
'Cause
they
you know
just,
that
do
the
they just make
newest-
little noises?
No. The newest Batman Lego game is their first fully voiceovered Lego game.
Which you haven't
And
played any
it's
of the Lego
good.
games.
That ruins it.
They're extremely
The
fun.
second one that they made that's fully voiced over is the new Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Like Kevin Conroy, he was there and he plugged. It's kind of cool seeing people do stuff in Dallas, for things. But he plugged that he was going to be continuing the voice of Batman for the next Arkham Origins game.
Yeah.
And so that was really really cool thing to do.
Yeah, so the Lego games are the Batman one is voiced over completely. And then they made a new one that's a Lord of the Rings thing that follows the entire storyline. It's voiced over by the actual actors. And it's very cinematic. It's nothing like the previous Lego games. It's actually really
And if you
cool.
haven't played any of the Lego games, they're all extremely fun. I played a few of them, and they're really fun.
I played the Star Wars ones, and they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm really looking forward to is Lego Game of Thrones.
Have they announced that? I'm
I
sure they'll do it.
doubt they'll do it.
I don't think that Game of Thrones, they've steered clear of a lot of,
really?
of that kind of
Okay.
marketing.
I would think if any game could get it. Well, I mean, there's a Game of Thrones game.
There's 3 of them, and they're all horrible.
Yeah, I played the RPG one, the most recent one, I think. It's a straight up like RPG, and you know it would be okay if the controls in it weren't so freaking terrible, but it's just really hard to play it and not be annoyed.
It's not a world where it's going to be easy to make a game out of.
Well, because there's
Yeah.
nothing really concludes.
There,
I mean, if we knew
there's
enough,
no like greater evil that everyone has to stop. It's all like you'd have to like pick one side of this, you know,
I guess
big conflict.
if you went back and you either made it like 1,000 years ago in like the Age of Dragons, or if you made it about Aerys Targaryen and the Trident,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, then that's one thing.
Which would be risky because then you're actually you're adding your own stuff to it.
So
And it's
watch
like-
Game of
that's-
Thrones
that's a
because
risky
it's awesome.
thing. That's risky.
And the question for the week is watch John dies at the end.
That's
I'm
not a
gonna watch
question.
it. We're all gonna watch it.
Yeah, well,
that's a
I'll-
command.
John dies at the end, and tell us, have you read the book? What you think of the movie?
Yeah.
And
That's,
does it end the way that you expect it to?
And did you
let us
eat
know if he
any
actually
sweet
dies.
food while you watched it?
Don't do that.
That's what I like.
No, don't do it.
I like that.
I think it would be a good segue into a cool filmmaking discussion. So
I'll definitely watch it. I haven't seen it yet, but I added it to my Insta queue last night.
Awesome.
So yeah, it just popped up, and I've heard good things about it. So
Cool.
all right, so we're gonna call it quits today,
break.
and we'll see you again
Brother, stop.
next Saturday. And thanks for hanging out with us.
Actually,
And,
no, we shouldn't be like next Wednesday. We'll see you.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Because, yeah.
You know, in my head, I thought that, and then I reversed it
I
anyway.
forget about that.
Yeah, so this comes out on Wednesday.
we do
We're
these
rec-
on Saturday.
We record them on Saturday. They come out on Wednesday because I need a couple days
so
to edit.
we're actually 3 days behind.
Right,
whatever
so
we're talking about.
Aaron's rubbing his beard on the mic, so we got to get out of here. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Adios, muchachos.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.